Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Come talk some Eagles. And we got a little Phillies on tap. Giddy up.
Oh, my God!
I'm embarrassed!
You're flying!
Welcome in. It's almost time. Welcome in, everybody. This is A2D Wednesday nights, only on A2D Radio. Every Wednesday, we're brought to you by FanUp, and FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, daily NBA contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use our promo code A2D. You get $50 right at sign up. You can download FanUp right on the Apple Store. Go do it. So interactive. I think you're going to love it. Our panel tonight, our usual Wednesday nights, outside of one Mr. Noah Eaton, we got Frank Vespi. We got Look at Me, Michael Kromiak, Greg Milakovic, Ralph Del Vecchio, two guys you probably don't want to look at. Ryan Brodo.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Tom on.
That's fucked up.
A little bit. I'm Tom Arnold. I'm Ron Burgundy. Phillies free agency moves.
Let's go.
The last 24, 48 hours have been glorious.
Yep.
Glorious. I don't care about it. We'll talk about it later on. Don't care about 11 years. Don't care about 11 years from now. Right? I just don't care. I care about winning right now. I'm all in the win. The Phillies are all in the win. We're all in the win. We'll talk about Phillies later on in the show. Obviously, if you got questions, bring them. You got Phillies excitement, don't stop. All right. Some people claim we're just fans in September. So we're here to let you know. It is December 7th, and some guys are wearing a Christmas tree on air that claim that we only root for them in September. So we'll get into that. We'll get into a little bit of that later on in the show. It'll be fun.
Rat.
It's good time to front run.
Little rat down there.
Get on the train early.
Hey, what happened in the ninth inning in the Wild?
The game won a ballpark in September.
What happened in the ninth inning? That's what I thought. 6 spot.
That's what happens when you lose a 2-game playoff series. You come up to a show dressed like this.
Yippers!
Hey, listen, I had a good day today, too.
Oh, it definitely looks like it.
All right, Wilson. Contreras. Great signing. No, not going to lie. Great signing. NFL Week 16 prediction.
With 2 L's. Figure that one out. With 2 L's, right?
Yeah.
There's something involved in that one, right? Like,
that's a mistake.
Yeah.
Somebody stroked the pen too many times on that one. NFL Week 14 predictions. We'll give you our locks of the week. Eagles Giants preview. We got a big one Sunday, baby. We got a big one Sunday. Ties right into our poll question. Our poll question is brought to you by BOAGGIO'S Bread. They're located right in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pie, sandwiches, cutlets, meatballs, desserts. I had some bowling the other day. Thanks.
I was going to say, I don't know if you had that pepperoni stuffed bread yet, but that was
they got pepperoni stuffed bread.
Greg, do I look like a guy that wouldn't have gotten his hands deep into some bowl?
I know I had it as soon as I got home down here to Florida too. Like it traveled with me. I brought one home. It traveled.
Well, you're a disgusting human being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That probably sat in your driver. Your passenger seat locked in. Yeah, right.
It's beautiful. It's funny. We talk about this.
I put it in a baby seat. You know what I mean?
It's funny. We talk about it, right? Like being up there in the Northeast, like you can use your car as a fridge, right? Because it gets real nice and cold at night. Down here in Florida, it's just like that's like spoiling.
It freezes overnight, then he drives back down the floor and it thaws out halfway there.
By the time you get out the plane, it's good to go.
Oh yeah, you did take a point. Well, still, whatever.
I did fly.
a lot of pressure in there.
But still delicious, regardless. BOAGGIO'S stuffed bread is amazing.
Yeah, well, by the way, I mean, unlike Greg, you can use promo code A2D, get yourself 10% off your in-store purchase at BOAGGIO'S Bread. Greg's a class act. You know what I mean? I don't need the 10%. That's
Give me
Greg.
One, get one. What do you want me to do, Brian?
Congratulations on your success.
You already got a deal.
I did throw it out there that we were in the house, that we were donating and giving back to the cause.
I love it. Just didn't use the code.
And love BOAGGIO'S Bread, too. Our poll question for tonight is a good one. The Eagles will have a double-digit win over the Giants this Sunday. Do you agree or disagree? You can let us know Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, everywhere you get your podcasts. We're there as well. hit the like, hit subscribe, comment in, join the conversation. You know how we operate. We read a lot off. Last week up until Sunday, I mean, Ryan knows it better than anybody. Up until Sunday, I was in a dogfight. When Sunday happened, I flipped the script. You know what I mean? I didn't think they were going to do that. But I thought I was like, I don't know how Tennessee beats you. I just don't know how. And they did everything like we asked Sunday morning for them to do, and they dominated them, right? Giants, I look at, and there's so many similarities. If you really look at the two, there's so many. They're not good enough. The Giants are really just not good enough, in my opinion. And I've been pretty clear on this all year.
That record's pretty cute, huh?
Yeah, it's a mirage, is what it is. It's Brian Dable, who's done a tremendous job. It's not about Brian Dable or the direction of the Giants. It's about what I watch. And what I watch is smoke and mirrors. Okay? Now, their defense coordinator does a tremendous job of getting after the quarterback. Okay? They've done a really good job of that all year. Obviously, you get your first-round pick back. That's going to help there. But they've done a really good job with that. Defensively, they've been tremendous. Okay? They really have, the Giants. That being said, nothing slowed us down this year offensively. There hasn't been that team that really, I feel like slowed me down. Okay? Because I feel like we get what we want. The Colts is probably the biggest example of slowing us down. Outside of the Colts, there isn't that game where I feel I can't.
There's one game out of these handful of games so far where you got slowed down for one game is pretty impressive on the offensive side of the ball,
For 3 quarters, right? Essentially, until the fourth, and then they stop slowing you down. So I feel like Jalen can run whenever he wants. I think this offense is so good, and I don't know how the Giants score points. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know how they score points, okay? Maybe they do, but with me and you and everybody else, guys, playing the outside for them, I don't know how they're good enough in terms of that side of their offensive game to beat the Eagles. I just don't know how it happens. They would have to run wild to me. And this is a different animal when you're talking about Saquon compared to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, if you get him before he gets to the defense, to the second level, he's a lot easier, right? A lot easier. Saquon a little bit different here, right? Saquon can make you miss early and break one to the house. So that's the only way they stay in this football game. 2 things: turnovers. The Giants would have to win the turnover battle, and Saquon would have to run wild to me for this not to be a double-digit win again. They're not good enough. Guys, we're 11-1. They're just not good enough. I'm not going to say it's easy. Nothing's ever easy. But you're talking about maybe a late field goal to make it double digits. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say the game never gets scary because it is a divisional game. But this is a game that I feel like when we leave this game, we say, yeah, we took care of business. We beat the Giants by double digits. They are what they are. They're tough. They're physical. They're well coached. But talent-wise, it's not even close. It's just not even close. It's less close than the Tennessee Titans, in my opinion. It just is. More competent quarterback of the two, right? And I'm not even crowning him, right? A better, more healthy running back usually, even though Saquon's probably more talented. But both guys problems. But their outside's the same. And their defenses are very similar in terms of their styles and how tough they were. And we talked about it, right? How good Tennessee's defense was, and they got shredded. So I don't know how the Giants don't get shredded. So I agree. I think the Eagles win this game handily.
Usually I'm on the opposite side of the fence from what you just said, Tom, with divisional games, right? And I mean, we look at the last time we had a divisional game, right? We almost got, quote unquote, exposed on Monday Night Football by the Commanders. But I want to say oddly confident, but then to your point with the overall talent, when you look up and down the stats and what you've seen both throughout the season and the last handful of games, I'm not going to say blowout, right? But I think it's going to be a comfortable, 2-touchdown type game. I really, truly do. Could they, get a late touchdown to make this like a 9 or 8 or maybe even a 7-point victory, but it doesn't really indicate what the overall game is? Sure, right? I'm all in favor of the storyline that, it's a divisional opponent on the road, first time playing them. You never know what's going to happen. A divisional opponent that is kind of up against the ropes, right? In the Giants, because they've been either losing games the last 4 weeks or they tie, right? So it's not, either way, it's not great. And they're fighting for their lives right now. While they have been overachieving, they were 7-1? And now, they're on a little bit of a losing streak at the moment going, before that tie.
Yeah, because that's what tape does. Yeah, tape and talent show at the end of the day, right?
Well, and it's like to your point too. We've talked about Brian Dable. God, I mean, we've talked about him like he's our own coach. That's how much praise we've given him throughout this year. And listen, this is no shot at him, but there's only so much he can do, and he's done a hell of a great job. Honestly, if they make the playoffs, I think he's a candidate for Coach of the Year. But looking at this game, it's funny that you brought up the Tennessee game, Tom, because before I even went to what the Giants do well as opposed to what the Titans did well before that game last week, it's kind of the same formula. It's a limited quarterback with limited wide receiving weapons and a really talented running back and a good defense. It's kind of the same formula, just times 2, and we're looking at it the same way with this. Here's the biggest difference, though. You look at last week, you can absolutely throw on the Tennessee Titans like we did. They were ranked 26th in passing defense before last week's game. You look at this week, they are 26th, the Giants, that is, in rush defense. You can run all over. So this might be a little part 2 of what we saw against the Packers 2 weeks ago. Then I look at, how are they winning games? How do the Giants win as many games as they have? Well, it's all about the one-possession games, and you could just go throughout their schedule. One possession against the Packers, one possessions against the Ravens team that blew it in the fourth quarter, one possession against the Jaguars team that blew it in the fourth quarter. A Texans game. I mean, you could literally go right down the line and you say, okay, they're not really getting blown out by any means, except for maybe you want to talk about that Lions game 3 weeks ago, and then they don't really blow out any teams either. But I don't know really what they do well because, total offense, right? Let me pull up the good old stat sheet here.
Well, it's got to be takeaways. I mean, that's what they do well and well-ish. I mean, and they sack the quarterback. I mean, that's their 2. They pressure well and they probably take the ball away well. I'm not watching them every week, but that's really and the one possession games. Obviously, they've won a ton of tight football games throughout this year, and now they're not. That's the difference. So what they were doing, they're not doing. They're not winning those one possession games like they were doing early on in the year. And early on in the year, they were pressuring the quarterback well, and their turnover margin was probably a lot better because DanielJones had started to revert a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and see, I look here, for example, they were really relying early in the season with the amount of points they gave up throughout the entire year. I should say, or no, I'll just say throughout the entire year, they averaged just over 21 points a game they've given up. The last 3 games, though, they've given up over 26 points per game. So you're looking there, they're leaking a little bit of oil. Then one last thing really quick with their scoring offense, how many points do you need to put up in a consistent basis to beat them? You look here, they are ranked 21st in the league. They're scoring 20 points a game. So really, like we talked about, you're going to have another game like you did last time you were there last year, where Jalen Hurts arguably had his worst game as a pro.
And don't think that's not in his mind.
Oh, yeah.
Don't think that's in his mind,
Yeah, the guy might come in even more fired up because the last time I was in this building, I did this.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, I think, it's a divisional game too, which makes it even more guys locked in. But yeah, I would have to look, but I guarantee when they were 7-1, their turnover ratio was spectacular for them, right? Because they weren't turning the football over. That's the big difference. They were not. So now why their scoring defense has sort of gone away, what they've given up has not been as good, is because now they are turning the football over more than they would like to and not taking the ball away. You know what I mean? Because that's just our only recipe for success. It's when you're smoking mirrors, to do it for 17 weeks is hard. Now they're on the right track, franchise-wise more than they were, but they're just they're worse than the Titans. To what we were just talking about, right? They're worse. They're not even in the same level. So, I don't ever want to disrespect and say, like you were saying, we're going to blow them out. You know what I mean? No, I'm never going to say that like we did Tennessee. What I'm going to say is we win a comfortable game and we win it by 10 plus, right? And I think that's it. But go ahead. If you want to look it up, because I'm curious about their turnover ratio this year. Because that's the only way. Jalen's got to turn the ball over 3 times. You know what I mean? 3 times, and then still have 2 drops to lose.
I will check now. When I find it, I'll raise my hand.
Yeah, no, and that's both of you guys raised good points too, and I think when you look back at what the Giants did well early on in those one-score games, that kind of honeymoon, that honeymoon process is a little bit over, right? Because it's hard to sustain that, regardless of your team, your talent, your overall talent. It's hard to sustain winning close games like that all year long, right? It's like the bullets you dodge early in the year are the ones that end up hitting you, towards the end of the year. So the only thing that I think is different than necessarily Tennessee is just I think Jones is more athletic. Tannehill is obviously a better pure quarterback, but I think Jones has shown, and he also shown last year when they gave us fits too, that his scrambling and his ability to get outside the pocket and make plays gave us fits last year. However, I agree to the poll. What's been most impressive with what the Eagles have done, especially recently, is each game seems to be a different blueprint on how to win. Right? You go back to the Packers. Oh, we're going to run for 400 yards. Oh, now Jalen can't throw the ball, right? Jalen digress as a passer, blah, 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 blah. All right, fine, we're going to throw for 400 yards now. Right? Oh, now we're not giving the ball to Miles enough. Right? So
yeah.
I think what's really exciting about this team as it continues to shut up a lot of people is we're doing it in different ways. Right? A couple weeks ago, we're all bashing the defense, but then you look back and they've given up one touchdown in the last 6-7 games in the second half. Like, those are recipes to win games, right? Regardless of how it looks, at the time when you take a step back and you go, we can win games with our defense. We can win games with our offense running. We can win games with our offense rushing the ball or passing the ball. And hell, even last week, we saw a blip on the radar from our special teams. Like,
I know,
he didn't run into a brick wall every time.
Yeah,
like, he actually broke a couple of tackles. Like, so, okay, maybe we're starting to get something. But I absolutely agree. I agree with both of your senses, too. I don't think it's going to be a huge blowout, but I think it's going to be comfortable. Might start off tight, right? But I think our defense and our ability to control the football is going to end up winning in the end.
As it should. Cromer? Santa? Know him?
The Giants are also eighth currently, tied for eighth in turnover differential, +3. We're number one at +13. So
yeah, we're extremely good at. But
I mean, we're fucking smoking people.
They're currently tied with Pittsburgh at 8. So that was my.
But I'm curious now on their turnovers their last 3 games.
Yeah.
Because I bet you that was even higher. I bet you they're probably in the top 5 before the last 3 games hit.
Possibly, very possible.
It's crazy.
There's not a huge difference either when you go from like Minnesota is at 3rd at 8, where you go to like Baltimore with 6. So. Really, with the last couple of games with the fall off, is very possible. Imagine if we didn't have those couple of games, how much higher ours really was at that point. We might be at +16, +17. Anyway,
for sure.
I guess I'm gonna just beat the dead horse and say, yeah, no, I agree to the poll. I don't think it's a blowout. I think a 10-11 point win is exactly where it's gonna sit. But a lot of the good points you guys bring up, we've won football games in a lot of ways. Sirianni and the coaching staff, it's been actually really nice and refreshing that we're not, going by the same textbook every game, going in with a game plan and then making the halftime adjustments. They're adjusting to what the team's strengths are to start the game out. And again, some games we're seeing where we're having tight defensive matchups. Some games they're slinging it. Tennessee really defends the run really well. So they went out and slung it this week. And some of the passes that we're seeing Jalen Hurts drop in are unbelievable. That pass that A.J. Brown caught in the corner, you couldn't have placed the ball in his hands like this any better than that was. It was unbelievable.
Crum, I don't give Chuck much credit for anything. But no, all jokes aside, like he put out a video on A2D or a reel earlier, just a breakdown of one play, and it's just one play, and like he said, but that throw to AJ in a window. We talk about the ability to throw in the windows, the ability to trust, right? We needed to see that. And that throw is the perfect example. Forget the deep balls. Like a lot of guys, most guys can throw the deep ball. You look at those intermediate routes. right? Those crossers. And that was like that was probably like a 10, 12 yard in and in a zone, right? And the ability to throw that early and trust where your guy's going to be and have the chemistry for it. But just the ability to read you're in a zone and make that throw is the type of progression that's put him in an MVP conversation, to your point. To your point about dropping dimes, I thought Chuck's put out a great one that nobody would really talk about. That was the perfect example of this guy growing in front of our eyes.
So everybody needs to go and check that video out. Go check out A2D social media, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. But yes, no, and that's a great point. And also, though, when you look at this team and the way that they're constructed right now, the biggest key, I think, for this week for that running game, right? We went out and we signed Joseph and Sue. You could see the difference in getting the big boy back this week. Having the big boy back this week, Jordan Davis, was a monstrous move for this team. And I think it showed because really you didn't see the run defense start to crumble up until the very end, up until he was out. And you plugged up the holes a little bit. But this week, I mean, against, arguably a top 2 or 3 running back in the league, I think you could really see that effect. I don't think that the Giants have a really great offensive line at all either, which I think is going to create a problem when you have the front 4 or front 8 that this team is going to be bringing to them constantly throughout the game. Fletcher has looked like he's had fresher legs over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Hargrave, the whole defensive front has looked really fresh, kind of like the Super Bowl year where they were rotating guys in and keeping them fresh, and they were looking better as the season progressed. And I feel like that's what you're starting to see. There's a sort of an image. And Ryan, 1 second. The one thing I will say, and I want to say this for the Giants, they are a much better team than any of us gave them credit for. I think they're starting to come back down a little bit to earth, but I will give them credit that they're much better. And even if they don't make the playoffs this year, I heard somebody say if they make the playoffs, Daboll should be a coach of the year candidate. I don't think he should win it, but he, to me, is a top 3 coach of the year candidate, regardless of if they make the playoffs, just by how well and how quickly this team has turned around. So I want to give them a little bit of credit because I really think they've played very, very, even in losses, for the most part, they've played teams very tough. So
well, they're physical. It's
going to be a walk in the park whatsoever.
They're physical. Yeah, they're physical and they're well coached on both sides of the ball. Head coach being an offensive guy, and I said their defense coordinator's been tremendous. So and they're starting to get some players, right? They're starting to hit some of their early picks, which is really helping. If they could get a quarterback and a really strong offensive line, they would be really freaking dangerous.
Yep.
I think they're a Trubisky away.
Jimmy G, future Giant. Jimmy G, future Giant.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's fun.
I'm like, you've been saying that for the past 2 years now, dude.
Yeah, I probably have.
Yeah,
probably something I would say.
Probably something I would have said.
Yeah, it sounds like something. I would say. Yeah. To Chrome's point, really quick. When you talk about the additions on the run defense and how it's really shown, how valuable it truly is. Since they made those 2 signings, and obviously Fletcher having a good couple games, and then you getting Jordan Davis back, you had Jonathan Taylor, by far the biggest and best performance against them, and that was their first game, and most of it was just on that first play, and he had a total of 84 yards, and he averaged 3.8 yards per carry. The following 2 weeks against Aaron Jones, 43 total yards, 3.6 yards per carry, and then this past week, Derrick Henry, 30 yards total, 2.7 yards per carry. So it's tremendous what these guys, for everybody in the national media that said, these guys are on the street for a reason. I understand how we could assume that, right? But these guys have been anything but that. These guys have shown how important they are.
Before you go, Frank, they didn't have a nose tackle, like a true nose tackle before Jordan Davis got hurt. After Jordan Davis got hurt, they didn't have it. They ended up being too small up front. So, and Linval Joseph is
a big boy.
He's a natural nose tackle. Sue is not. Sue's not a natural nose tackle. So that addition right there to be able to play that guy 35, 40 snaps per se or whatever he's playing is not just grabbing somebody off the street to the national media's point. It's going and getting filling a need, even if that guy's not going to be Jordan Davis. But if that guy can be good enough and help shore up your run game, which they did, So I mean, listen, this defense has been it's been lights out all year, and the numbers speak to it. So, these additions, I don't know how anybody could be like, they're on the street for a reason. They're on the street because they're older and it's the NFL. But if you've noticed, NFL older players are sort of doing this more and more. You see it more and more where some of the older guys are saying, you know what? I'm going to breathe here. I'm going to breathe here for
9 weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to breathe here for 7-8 weeks. See, and go to a contender that ends up getting an injury and needs me, because at the end of the day, they don't want to go through camps and shit. Are you kidding me?
To that point, let my body recover.
Years old. Yeah.
Let my body recover a little bit. Let me feel like if I can still do this at all. You know what I mean?
Can I do it for 8 weeks? You know what I mean? 8 weeks is a lot easier than do it for 17 in the playoffs when you're talking about guys that are 34 plus years old.
Well, Sue was about to retire, and he's like, you know what?
Let's get one more push.
One football team. Let's give it a shot again. All right, let's go ahead.
Sue got a call from like 9 other teams throughout the season, not even just the offseason. He was like, no, I'm waiting. And he had, I know, because by all reports, he chose us over the 49ers, but I think there was another team that he chose.
There probably was.
Like, it might have been the Cowboys. Who the hell knows? But
because he keeps tweeting like, right decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
He keeps saying, right decision here. And I'm like,
I hear you, Dominican. I hear you. I agree.
It is. Well, because for two things. I mean, listen, he probably got paid well. I don't know what he gets, but I guarantee it's like $1 million. I feel like he's still making $1 million. I feel like both.
Sue?
Yeah, he probably. I don't know what he's
making around. I think it's retroactive.
I think it was 2.5. 2.5 million.
I think it's about 2 or 3.
A lot of money.
Well, that was in bonuses and incentives. His base salary was $750,000.
Yeah, a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of money when you're that age. You got 2 twins now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Bills go up, baby. So, but no, I mean, 2 great additions. The national media can suck my what, because they don't have a feel for life when it comes to this team. James Marion, and go Frank. We appreciate the super chat, James. Eagles. He says Eagles win this game. The division will be a wrap. Eagles would have to go 2-2 the rest of the way, and the Cowboys would have to win out. Yeah, neither happening. And just to be clear, the Eagles are a way better football team than the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't give a shit what anybody says. I know they're the darling. They're the darling. We'll make that throw a couple picks. You can book that. Christmas Eve, Cowboys fans got a little present, little turnover, little Tony Romo turnover coming your way, because Dak will throw the football to the wrong team that night, even though he's been really good since he's came back. But sorry for another day. Go ahead, Frank.
I digress.
See, to this poll, I'm going to disagree. But that is until the end of the second half, where they win by double digits.
Oh, my God.
Jesus, you're such a fence guy.
Classic Frank.
Guy misses 2 shows. He's like, I got to make up for this now. I got to make up for it. I agree and disagree to the poll.
Well, but it is going to be an agree to it. It's going to be close. As it was said earlier, it's going to be close in the first half. Divisional opponents, it's going to be tough. Jalen didn't have a great performance at MetLife last season, but that was a completely different team last year. The way that Jalen's been playing, the way this offense has been and defense have been playing so far, it's amazing. But yeah, I think this game, it's going to start off a little bit close, and then we're gonna get ourselves a little bit comfortable and pull away. So I'm going to agree to that poll, and I'll leave it at just that.
All right. Ralphie?
I'll go real quick. I agree as well.
Ralphie,
I mean, Daniel Jones, that's cute. That's nice. I mean, that's great. That's great. James Bradbury's on the other side. I mean, revenge game. You want to cut me? All right. I'll show you what's up. What's up, Danny? But who's going to cover AJ Brown on that side? Technically, AJ Brown's really only had one bad game AJ Brown has one bad game this entire season so far for us, and it was against Washington. I think he only had like 1 catch. So have fun stopping AJ and have fun stopping Devontae. I literally think we win by at least by 20. I swear. I think it's double digits.
Ralphie,
I think it's
30
back
to us.
Listen, I don't know who's slowing us down, boys. I don't know who's slowing us down. I really don't. I mean, Jalen is playing out of his mind. The throws, like Chrome said, the throws he was making last week, I thought it was Montana. I was like, holy shit, when did we get Joey in here? Holy shit. I mean, just dropping dimes. I mean, not even back shoulder, like off a little bit. I mean, straight money onto the chest in the bucket while guys are covered too. So he's been improving. I don't think we're slowing down anytime soon. I really don't.
Yeah.
So I 100% agree to the poll.
And you also got to factor that like guys are stepping up when other guys are down. I mean, last couple of weeks, after when CJ went down, out of all guys, Reed Blankenship steps up. You have the special teams stepping up. N'Kobe Dean making an appearance, making all those snaps. So I think a lot of guys are going to be stepping up in this game, and only way is up, everybody.
I probably don't play Kaiser White this week. If you guys want to be honest with you, I'd probably give him a breather. He's banged up.
You seen the Kobe Dean play? Slide him right in.
I need Kaiser. I need a healthy Kaiser for the playoffs. You guys know where my head's at now. Ryan known it. We've talked about it for a couple of weeks now. Give guys breathers, man. I got no problem. You're 11-1. And breathe away. Absolutely breathe away. Hopefully, you get a guy like Robert Quinn back for the playoffs. Hopefully CJ's ready for playoff time, right? Hopefully Kaiser's ready in a week or two. Dallas, Avante. Give Avante 2 more weeks. It's not going to hurt. It's actually going to help Josiah Scott be better. You understand? It's going to help him be better by playing. That's the only way you get better. You don't get better by sitting around. So if you can get better, you're going to get better by playing. So when you're in this position, allow guys that and get these other guys' bodies 100% right because, round 1 of the playoffs, these guys played enough this year to know the scheme, to know what's going on, right? You guys know what I mean? They played enough. So it's not going to be like, oh, my God, he hasn't played a couple, 6 weeks. They'll be fine. I'm not saying wait Avante to the playoffs. I'm saying CJ, and anybody else that feels like need a breather. Like if Jordan Davis isn't 100%, he shouldn't be on the football field right now.
He re-aggravated his injury, right? Didn't he came off a little lame at one point in the game. I don't know what the diagnosis was, but Davis re-injured himself a little bit.
Yeah, they said he's fine. So I think not that I take their word, anybody's word for that, but he doesn't play a lot of snaps anyway. But give these guys breathers. When you're 11-1, if you're where the Giants are, if you're where the Cowboys are, and you're chasing, you know what I mean? If you're chasing other teams, absolutely not. But if you keep winning, if they win again this week, that's another week where I don't have to, I give Avante another week, right? You know what I'm saying? The more this happens, I give guys another week. Now, because I would like Avante and Dallas maybe to play the last game or two of the year. You know what I mean? Even the last game for a quarter or two, just to get back into some rhythm. But outside of that, I don't need these guys playing extra football for no reason. When my quarterback's rolling, my offense is rolling, and my defense, even without guys, is rolling.
So we're going full NBA load management at this point. We're going load management.
Shouldn't we? Shouldn't we take care of the important things, which is making sure we don't rush anybody back? If a guy's fully cleared and ready to roll, different story. But even when he is that, I give him 1 more week. You understand? I give him, let me give you 6 more days, just because. I'll give you 6 more, and then that's it. Then you come back. That's my point. I would give it if somebody's due back in a certain week, through 4 playoffs. I try to give them 1 more if I can. Now, if I lose. Good need you guys back because I need the 1 seed.
But absolutely, definitely need a 1 seed. But a loss down here doesn't kill us, right? It almost kind of locks us back in, right? We talked about that as we were leading up to, we still had our O, right? How we didn't want to go undefeated, right? We wanted to taste a little bit of a loss or a
Depends
little bit of
loss.
But we wanted to taste it just because we needed to.
Problem is, you don't want to lose games within the division. This would
I
be
agree
the
there.
division
I
loss.
completely agree there.
Now, because now when you go against Dallas,
that's pretty much what we got left.
That's the problem. You go against Dallas, if you lose and you end up tied with Dallas, they now have the tiebreaker.
Well, and then when you look,
because we split with them then.
No, because they have the better divisional record.
Oh yeah, that's I
forgot.
They
lost to us. We would have Washington and them, or like Greg said, we lose this week. That's another divisional game. These are the ones you have to win. If they lose another game
I agree there.
down the line, absolutely. Divisional games, we gave away the 1 divisional game. That's the one you have now. You don't have a buffer on that.
Well, and the 1 seed too, really quick. You at the bare minimum, if no other, if the Cowboys, if the Giants, if the Vikings, everybody, not the Giants aren't in the conversation for the 1 seed, but Cowboys and the Vikings. if they win out for the rest of their games, which they're not going to, I wouldn't imagine, we have to, at bare minimum, go 4 out of 5. We have to win.
Schedule's pretty light.
Whose?
The Cowboys' schedule's not. I mean, they have Tennessee left.
They ain't going up.
Only Tennessee. That's
like this week will be the perfect week where the Cowboys and Vikings both drop a game and then we just win. You know what I mean? To at least give us some fucking room here.
Who are the
you know what I
Vikings
mean?
playing? The Jets? Or no, they just played the Jets.
No, they just
played the Vikings
Jets.
are taking on the Lions.
They're playing the Lions this week.
Feisty Lions team. Feisty Lions team. Never know.
They are feisty.
Who are the Cowboys playing? Oh, I gotta check it.
They're playing Houston this week.
I think.
Yeah.
So they've got Houston.
So Cowboys be 10-3.
At the Jaguars. Then they've got
11-3.
us on Christmas Eve. At the
11-4.
Titans, and then at the Commanders. Yeah, it's not scared of their schedule.
I mean, even though the Giants aren't
Lions
like
2.5-point favorites, by the way. You see that?
the Lions are.
Yeah.
Really?
They're at home.
Yeah, and they're always feisty. So,
Dude,
they know how.
I will literally buy a Lions jersey if they win this week. It beat Minnesota. I'll do it for Don.
Can it be a Jared Goff Lions jersey?
Yeah, I don't care. Give me something.
Oh, don't do that to yourself, Ralph.
Well, speaking of Ralph, there's a bet for you by Mr. Spellman. He says, Ralph.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm done making bets. All right, I've been losing all season on bets. I'm done making bets.
Sorry, Sean. That's a no on your proposal. Speaking of health, by the way, I'm looking at today's Giants injury report. Missing some key guys that did not practice. Adoree Jackson, knee injury, didn't practice. Shane Lemieux, toe injury, didn't practice. Leonard Williams, neck, didn't practice. One of their O-linemen, Mark Glowinski, rest. So I guess he's fine. Dexter Lawrence, rest. And then Julian Love, rest. But those first handful of guys, especially Adoree Jackson, that's not necessarily going to be great.
Yeah.
When stopping some of our wide receivers.
I did want to drop in my weekly reminder that as of right now, Jalen Hurts is on pace to throw for 4,300 yards.
And you had him at 4,000 to start the year.
Greg.
You had him at 4,000 to start the year, Chrome. Look at you.
Leonard Williams is a big one on that.
He ruins us.
He usually gives us fits.
He's an Eagle killer. That's right.
Is Thibodeau playing this week?
Yeah.
I would expect it.
He's not on the injury report.
Oh, because I didn't know if he was still, because I know he was dealing with, it was like an ankle or something like that, right? Something in his lower half. He was dealing with. I didn't know if he was good to go.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean he's not on the injury report today. That's all I know.
All right.
Let me see here. Yes, Greg, he does have. They do have Jameson Williams. I don't know. I don't think he did much in this past game.
Yeah, that was his first game back. I think he had one target, but Jameson Williams is back.
Umberto says, how the hell can anyone straight-faced say the Cowboys are better than us? We've shown versatility and ability to handle adversity. Dallas always crumbles when faced with adversity. Stop the fan girling.
Yeah, I want all the smoke with Dallas.
Yeah.
I want all the smoke. Bring them on.
Tom, I think you're muted, Tom. We can't hear you. I can't hear him. Can anybody else hear him?
Yeah, I can't hear you, Tommy, if you're talking. Yeah, but give me all the smoke with Dallas, please. I want it. I really don't care.
With or without Odell, Ralph, even though it seems like
that's
Odell
nice. Because Odell's been hooting and hollering all year long, dude. Just sign with a team, bro.
Yeah.
We're going to wait until week 17 to sign with a team.
Well,
he can't move yet.
Dallas, and then Jerry pulled his stuff.
He can't move yet, though. That's according to
never
Dallas,
realized
right? But that's
What do you
pretty
mean he can't
ballsy of a
move
guy,
yet? What do
right?
you
Like,
mean?
he's not working out.
Well, the guy can't play.
He's not fully back from his injury.
Well, he told
So
them.
So then why not? Why? So then every time
Right.
I turn on national television, why is it always Odell? If the guy can't play then why are we making a big deal out of it?
Because they
Stop
don't
watching television.
Yeah,
Oh my
television
God.
sucks.
The guy's still hurt and he can't work out. Then why are we doing this?
That's what Dallas came back and said. We're like, yeah, we thought the medicals would be a little bit different than what they are. Not that they expect them to work out, but they weren't expecting mid-January, right? You know what I mean? Like they weren't expecting mid-January. They might not be playing in mid-January yet.
So I kind of felt like Skip Bayless. I know we're not big Skip fans, but I kind of liked his theory.
Love that show.
Which was essentially, this whole snowball started with all the
show.
Cowboy fans, right? or not the Cowboys, but all the players, right? Who started tweeting him back, and it started to kind of take a life of its own. So then Jerry goes out there and he says some good stuff about him, and essentially, he kind of ended up getting pulled into this thing now where he's almost backed into a corner where Jerry will take him, but he wants him to contribute now, but he can't. But everybody else wants him for, even if it's not now, for next year. And his window to win, his best window in the last 25 years that honestly the Cowboys have had, might be this year. He's saying, if I'm going to have you, I need you right now. And the fact that Odell is not available to help with that, he's saying, I don't need to sign you right now then. I could sign you for next year. I'll give you that next year if you can help me now. But if you're not going to help me now,
right,
it's not a commitment I want to
make.
make.
And then why are we having this whole carousel then? He's visiting the Giants, the Cowboys. He's going to the Packers. If the guy can't play until next year, then what's the point?
I'll tell you right now, Ralph, whether he plays or not, in the event that he could play, I'd sign him and stash him. Just sign him and stash him away.
I'll sign him just to piss off the other two teams in our division.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Sign him and stash him. I don't care.
So how much would you give Odell then?
Super Bowl. Okay. Sign him and stash him.
Give him freaking. I don't know. Is he going to take $3 million?
He ain't taking $3 million.
I don't. What does he want? I mean, I'm not giving him 10 if that's what you're saying.
I think at this rate, whatever you get, it's gonna be a retroactive pay. So it's not gonna be like there will very likely be high playoff bonuses in there to try to help them to motivate them to get on the field and play a little bit more.
See, Dallas fans don't even want him now. Molly's saying we don't even need him. No,
James Washington. That's great.
I'm saying that James Washington.
I never thought that you guys needed him. I really don't understand why they're going for him.
Because it's Dallas and they can't help themselves. That's not a shot. It's just this is flashy.
It's a running team.
I feel like the Giants actually need him because I don't know who the receivers are. It was other than the ghost of Kenny Galladay.
Michael Gallup missed a lot of time.
That's how sad it is. Like Galladay still can't play.
No.
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb is starting to emerge and become, a
good for him.
Number one.
Good for him.
And it's a running football team. It's not even passing game is not even their MO. That's their secondary option. They're a running football team behind Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. It makes no sense to me other than to just say, I have Odell Beckham on my team.
Sayan says he said he's looking for a place to retire.
There's multiple reports over that because now there's people saying he's willing to take a deal to prove himself in the playoffs so he can cash in the offseason.
Yeah, see, that's the Bears TV. That's why I said $3 million. I don't freaking know.
When can he come back and play?
He can medically or like
medically. When is he ready to play?
Well, nobody has that answer because now it's coming out that this entire time apparently the Giants and the Cowboys are really under the impression that this guy would be able to play a few games to ramp up for the playoffs and then be an asset. Now it's apparently like this guy might not be able to play at all. He went to
the building and they found out. I guess that knee's not ready.
Yeah, he went into the building and it's like, oh wait, that's right. The guy's knee blew up 9 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've seen guys.
That's a waste of a signing, dude.
There's guys that have come back from that within 10 or 11 months.
That's a waste of a signing.
To them, he will be ready in 5 weeks for the playoffs. They don't believe, and I don't know because maybe it could be Jerry just looking for an out because he doesn't trust that he's going to be back. But Jerry doesn't believe that he's going to be back in time to even play in the Super Bowl. So that's where there's the Odell side saying, I'm good to go. You're not hearing anything about the physical on the Giants or Bills side. So that's where I'm kind of interested. Like, are one of these teams now going to sign him? That'll tell you a lot then about what's up with the Cowboys, as opposed to if both teams. I don't even know if the other teams got to the point of doing a physical on, to be honest.
And to your point, what does Jerry Jones gain by leaking this information about the medicals? To your point,
Nothing.
right? None of the other teams did that.
Unless he doesn't want them, and he doesn't want any of these other teams to go and get them.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a game of chess to where this is what I believe. If I put this out there, maybe it'll scare off some of the other teams too.
I just think it's comical that Jerry Jones is worried about a guy who's not playing. Like, worry about your own freaking, like, worry about the guys that are on your team.
Well, I mean, I think it all started with all the players started getting all hyped up and tweeting them.
They were taking them to basketball
games.
Smokes.
Oh, yeah. It's like a freaking.
It took a life of its own over the last month.
Did you guys see? Speaking of, and listen, Sirianni's a madman sometimes on the sidelines and in press conferences. But did you read what he said about the Odell Beckham thing this morning?
I did not.
So I want to read you this transcript from his press conference because I think it was probably the best answer he could have given. So this is pretty much the exact opposite of what I'll just say Dallas because I to your point, Chrome, I'm not really hearing much from the Giants. Like the Giants are bringing him to Knicks games. I don't know why he's going to go to a Knicks game,
right?
But you know what I'm saying? Like the Cowboys are like, what? Say that again?
Or Buffalo. He visited Buffalo too.
Yeah, like I didn't. To be honest, I didn't even know that. So like that's what
I kind of knew, but.
So Dallas is making it like a friggin' like a show. You know what I'm saying? Like a recruitment tour. The other team's not. So I'll just put, an exact opposite of what Dallas is doing. So he said the following. He says, really happy with the room that we have. One of the best wideout rooms. Yeah, the best wideout room I've ever been a part of in the NFL. We've had some good ones. It's the best one we've had. I love what obviously AJ Brown, everybody knows what AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are doing, right? Then you have Quez Watkins, who is continuing to come on and continuing to make plays, continuing to be that big speed receiver that we need. Then you have Zach Pascal, who is very critical to a team. The type of play he brings. Your fourth has to be a special teams contributor, which Zach is. He has to be willing to do the dirty work and be able to back up every single position, which he does, and have a specialty role, which he does too. Have that. Your fifth guy better play special teams. Our fifth guy is our returner who had his best game as a professional last week. So, yeah, I'm excited about that room. I'll leave it at that. So basically saying, we don't need – I'm not interested in the extra. We've gotten here. We're 11-1 with what we have. I don't need somebody who was awesome 4 years ago to be like the shining star. Like if somebody goes down, then maybe, but we're not at that point.
And to that point, I think what he also is saying too is – where's he slot in? Right? Obviously, you have AJ and Devontae as 1 and 2. Those guys aren't playing special teams. So you're going to slot him in over Quez at 3 and then push Quez to then play special teams? Or worst case, are you going to slot Odell as your 4 and make him play special teams? That's not happening.
Oh,
yeah.
Right? That's not realistic. That's not happening.
Odell's not coming in and being like, oh, yeah, I'll be your better Britton Covey and I'll return punts for you. He's not doing that.
Dude blows out his knee 9 months and is going to come in here and catch punts. You got to be kidding me, man.
We saw it live, and we all saw it live. It's a Super Bowl. But he blew out his knee running a 6-yard route. Now we're like, oh, this guy's going to return punts. Stop.
And the one thing that made Odell so dynamic when he was healthy was he was one of the few guys – in his early years that could take a 5-yard slant to the house, right? You know what I mean? Or a 10-yard slant to the house. Not every team has those guys, and he's not that guy anymore. Obviously with the knee injury and just father time being what it is, he's obviously not that guy anymore. So again, I mean, it's crazy to think that we're, listed as shooters. I don't, maybe it's just to drive up the price. I don't want him. I don't necessarily hate the guy. You know what I mean? But I don't see it being a fit because again, like I just said, where's he fit? He's obviously not 1 or 2, so he's either going to push Quez to special teams or he's playing special teams, and we know that's not happening.
He wasn't a fit with the Rams last year either. But when it came down to playoff time, there was a need.
No, I didn't say he wasn't a fit.
I'm not to me. Special teams is different, but Zach Pascal really doesn't contribute very much to this offense. I don't see it.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to.
But my point being though is, and I don't think Quez has had moments, but I don't think Quez has had a great year either. I'm not saying bump him, but I would sign Odell for depth because in the event that somebody gets injured, I would sign him and stash him.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna tip my nose at you to your point, but I'm not. You know what I mean? I agree. He can step in over Zach, but
I'm not necessarily signing him to come in and be a savior and bump somebody out or anything like that. At this point, I don't think anybody's signing him for that. He's a depth guy who has a very high ceiling in a short period of time, who could be a guy who, if you have a major injury in playoff time, can step right in and essentially fit into any offense if you really need him to on the wide receiver position. And for that alone is a reason why I signed him. I'm not looking to push anybody out, but he's not even going to be ready for 5 or 6 weeks at the earliest anyway. But
The only part
I'm signing and stashing him.
The only part I disagree with is that, like, when you say like nobody's bringing him to be the savior, well, Dallas clearly is, because that's all they're talking.
I don't think they are. I think they're bringing him in to sell tickets.
They brought him. They're doing a freaking press tour with him, Carl.
I don't. Yeah, I think that's the pomp and circumstance. I don't think Jerry wanted to sign him to begin with, because I don't think Jerry believed he was going to be able to contribute this year.
Oh, you and I both know Jerry loves the attention. Regardless of what he
disagree. I disagree, because if you hear Jerry Jones actually talk, yeah, he brings guys in, but Jerry Jones, and anyone who's a Cowboys fan, anyone who you follow who's ever played for the Cowboys, always says Jerry Jones's pride is that he builds his own team, America's team. That's why he's so involved in the draft. That's why he likes to develop his own guys. That is something he's very big on. So I disagree. When a team is this good, if anything, I think Jerry would like to see this team on their end follow it out and have a chance to win a Super Bowl, as opposed to having to resort to going out and getting an Odell. However, I feel like he's backed into a corner. I really believed in what Skip was saying, because if you read between the lines and see everything and how it went and listen to the voice clips of him talking, it sounded like he went from an enthusiasm to, as soon as his team started chirping and going out and saying, come here, it was like he was backed into a corner. So now they have to go through this. I think he probably was looking at this as a blessing that his physical came out with issues.
I guess my main issue
now it's like, well, we rolled out the red carpet. We did everything we could, but
his knee's still banged up.
His knee's not good. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess my main issue with it, when you talk about the Eagles, right? It's like, to Greg's point, if I get a notification in 10 minutes saying we signed Odell, I'm not mad. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, that's fine.
Stash them.
Yeah, but my problem is the people, because I would say there's probably 35-40% of this fan base that is legitimately talking about Odell. Like, how dare you not sign him yet? Like, there are people out there that are literally in our feeds and Eagles feeds on all like, why haven't you signed Odell? Why haven't you done this? It's like, if this is any other season, I think this is why, like, Eagles fans don't realize like how good we are right now, because we're not used to it, especially with the wide receivers. If this was a wide receiver core with old man Alshon Jeffrey or Shelton Gibson or Jalen Reagor, like stuff we've been stuck with the past handful of years, then I get it. I'd probably be right there. And with an Odell with one knee would probably be better than what we had, right? But it's not necessary to be going on every morning, waking up, opening your eyes and checking your phone, being like, is Odell signed yet? Like, that's where I think people need to understand. Like, if we get him, great.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's foolish. But, you know, to hear a report of the Eagles might be in on him, might be somebody to look out for, I do say, good. I hope if it happens, great. I'm not following it. Not going to be every day, like you said, Ryan, looking like, is he signed yet?
No, but that's why I check on some of these people out there that are doing it. I'm like, Tom, are you at all interested in the Odell thing?
Interested? Like, I'm not like, I'm like really lukewarm on it. Like I'm not like against it. Like, if it happened, I'm not like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, but again, I don't know if it's a ploy to try to get more money from Dallas, maybe, or get Jerry thinking like, I'm losing. I'm not going to get him. But like, if he's not ready, he's not ready. And you're talking about an ACL. Like, do I think he's better than Quez Watkins? Yes. Like, if he's healthy, he's better than Quez Watkins. Like, you know, I heard you guys bring that up. But he's definitely better if he's healthy than Quez. And like Chrome said, he didn't have a problem fitting in LA. He is a champion at the end of the day. So he got over that like hump of his career per se. And he's shown growth in terms of like maturity for the most part. I mean, Cleveland didn't go the way anybody expected it to, I guess. Right. You know? So, you know, I don't know. I'm lukewarm. Like I'm not rushing to get him. If that's the question per se, I'm not like, I'm not showing him the red carpet to come in here.
Yeah, I feel like I would be like, if I was the Eagles, I would put some feelers out there. I'd make a phone call.
Well, that's why I think when Greg brought that up, like it was, I think it was you, Greg. You were like, it's interesting that the Eagles popped up. I just think it's because Howie Roseman makes calls on everybody.
True.
I don't think it's because like, oh my God,
you're not doing your job if you're not to a point.
I do think I do think that this team is damn close, and I do think they see what he was able to do even without a need being there, as far as just a depth piece for the Rams last year, and how right before the playoffs, that depth ended up showing a lot of value and what he was able to contribute in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. So I do think that Howie, it's a league, a copycat league too, where when you see look at baseball, right? Look what the Phillies did in the wild card. Now, all these teams who would normally be fringe wild card teams and who would never spend the money they're spending, like the Texas Rangers, are dropping money all over the place. The NFL's the same way. When you're a team and you're the number one seed and you are on the cusp, you want to have depth everywhere at the best possible value you could have. And if you could stash this guy, and maybe he's not ready until the conference championship, and you might only get 2 games out of him. But hey, you never know, because somebody might get hurt during the divisional round. He's the best possible piece you could have sitting there on reserve.
I mean, listen, I don't know how you cover this team if he's healthy. One, I don't know who's covering the slot guy today. Okay.
You're gonna have AJ. Think about it: AJ, Devontae, Dallas, and Odell all out in the field at the same time.
With a mobile quarterback.
And you ain't double covering nobody. So it's all one-on-ones. Who you doubling out there?
And Miles, who can catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah. But the Keith's point, if this is it, if $7 million is stash a guy, no, like that number's got to be like league minimum, babe. I mean, you've had 2 ACL surgeries now, right? Or 3. How many is it? 2 or 3?
It's a good amount.
2.
I think it's 2.
2.
We had 1 with the Rams, 1 with Cleveland, right?
The deal would likely be.
Did he have any with the Giants? Did he have any with the Giants?
Yes, he had something with the Giants because I can't get the visual week. It was the year. It was I think it was the 2017 year when we went to the Super Bowl. There's a visual in like week 16. He's getting carted off screaming with his knee. It might have been a foot, but it was something with his leg. I know that
2
for a fact.
ACLs.
2 ACLs. Well, listen, I talk to players all the time. Before you say to Keith, real quick, Crum, I talk to my players all the time about trends, like we do on here. I say we talk about trends all the time. Well, that's a trend that I'm not a fan of. Like if you're talking about coming in for a year to make a run, I'll give you a 1-year deal. But remember, like this $5 million carries over, right? The $5 million we have in our cap space carries over. So you need every dollar for next year. So that number's got to be right. It's old. Chrome's 100% spot on. It's always about getting your roster deeper, because the deeper teams and the teams that are healthier that have depth are always going to be the teams left standing for the most part, right? Okay, or just deep all around. What we're saying. But $7 million to stash, absolutely not. And that'd be like a 2-year deal, $7 million. I mean,
for this season. If you call his agent and he says, well, he wants a deal for next year, you hang up the phone. But that doesn't sound like that's what's on the table now. It sounds like what he's facing is this year, prove it, and then see what happens next year. If you're under the cap for this year and it has no effects on next year, whatever it takes to get him to lock him in for the rest of the season, you do it. It's off the books for next year. So unless you're going to defer, they're not going to defer money to him next year to bring him in for 2 or 3 games.
No.
What you have to offer him for this year, you go through to the end of the year. That money's off the books.
True, but not if he wants a 2 years,
or $4 million, or $2 million.
Well, you can't go 7 because you only have 5 left.
I know, but my point, he's not. I have not heard $7 million. That's insane. I've been seeing a lot of numbers for him. $7 million was not what it was.
I want to give love real quick to our boy Murph, who commented in. I know he's got. I'm not trying to put him out, put his stuff out in public, but I know he's in the hospital, and he's doing better, and we're just sending our prayers to you, brother. We love you,
soon, brother.
Good luck,
and get well soon. And we're here for you. We're here for you, my man.
Yep.
Go ahead, Rye.
I correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe, like, if we're talking about like bringing him in for the playoffs almost, and then it feels like we're talking about like Manny Machado all over again from a couple of years ago. Like, bring him in for the run and have him in the building, and then we can work this out, and we see how that panned out. But it's like, okay, if we're talking about bringing him in for the playoffs and then like bringing him back next year, I think Quez Watkins would be a free agent too. So it's not like there wouldn't be any room for him if he did some good things.
No, true. Like like I said, if the deal's right, I'm never gonna, like, I used to be like anti Odell, but you prove something to me when you go fit in somewhere.
Yep.
Right. And you're able to, You're able to eat some crow, mature. We're never the same we are when we were younger, right? I mean, we all can speak on that for the most part, right? We all grow and we all mature. Some don't, AB, but that's a different story. But most mature, right? I mean, he took a picture with Giselle in his bed, like she was really there. And I don't know if you guys seen that. He's a prop. He's a prop. I mean, if I'm Tom Brady, I'd probably get a hit out on him. You know what I mean? I don't say that.
Isn't like I don't know if it's 100%, but like, isn't there like other stuff going on with him right now? Like other stuff happening?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Like other stuff. Yeah.
There's domestic violence conversations. There's
I think there's like something with like he's inside of a house and they're trying to get in the house. I don't know. Go to Twitter. I don't know. I'm not going to.
I wouldn't be surprised about any of it. But the point is this guy's grown, right? This guy's grown. And if he can fit in and be the third guy in terms of your receiving core, then sure. If you're just trying to win, bro, we're here to try to win too. So if you check egos at the door, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? You're coming into a culture here. So are you able to check egos at the door, realize that you are not the same player you used to be, all right? And say, I'll take a lesser role because I really enjoy rings, then we're open for business. But if you're selfish to a point or it becomes about you, we got no time for that here.
If it was Odell from 4 years ago, he would have been here in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? Like,
it was Odell from 2 years ago. It was Odell from 2 years ago, to be honest.
Yeah, but we didn't want that Odell, right? Because we weren't sold on that Odell. I think I speak for all of us for the most part, right? We were like, I'm good. It might have been the first time ever I said,
yeah, I'll take a flyer.
You guys want to have a phone conversation? Like, I'll talk on the phone. I'll see what you guys are interested in. Like, if I'm Howie, like, and to your point earlier, Rye or Greg's was, if you're a good GM, you always pick up the phone. You always do your due diligence on every player, especially to Chrome's point, if you're in win now mode. I mean, you didn't think you were going to be in win now mode, but Joseph and Sue even upped the ante of win now mode. Like, this is the same team that was.
This is the same team that was rumored a couple weeks ago to be going after Gronk. I don't know where that thing was. I didn't know where that article came from, but it's getting crazy when you're rumored for Gronk.
Yeah, and Tommy's not letting that happen.
No, God, no. He'll just
no. Tommy said, "Where are you playing at?"
Yeah, Gronk's like, "Well, I'd love to come to Tampa, but sorry, Tom, your team stinks. Sorry."
It's gonna be like the reverse.
He can help him.
It's gonna be like when he retired, so he didn't get traded to the Lions again.
Yeah. And then this guy retired 3 times. But what I was saying to Greg earlier, and to what you guys just said with like a GM doing its due diligence, where all that smoke came from this morning. What was it, Pelissero, or one of these NFL reporters or whatever? I'm like 99% confident that it was a situation where, again, Odell's team, they want stuff to get out. Because they want to hear like, oh, Team X is available or they're interested. That way they get a Dallas or a Giants or a Bills to panic. So what probably happened was this reporter, again, I think it was Pelissero, probably talked to the camp and said, oh, which teams have you been in contact with the last, 72 hours? And they were probably like, oh, okay, Giants, Cowboys, Bills, the Eagles called. And then the reporter's like, oh, the Eagles? Oh, that's different. I got to report it. It could have been as innocent as that, where they're just taking a phone call. But then it's like, oh, the Eagles have popped up on the radar. Boom, there's a tweet. Now it's a story.
No, yeah, for sure. That there's a lot of factors that go into why stuff's reported and talked about. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff. But let's do our score predictions. Give our offensive, defensive players of the game. I don't think anybody's hit this yet. So the ante is, if anybody hits this score prediction, our family out there, $200 Venmo, because it's got to go up a little bit. It's got to go up a little bit. I think last Friday was 100, right? Then we say 100, so we'll say 2. Nobody's hitting it. No. Doesn't seem like it. If they are, they're not letting us know.
What's going to happen? You know what's going to happen? We're going to get to the final week of the season, and by that point, it's going to be like 500, and somebody's going to hit it.
Yeah, I'm never giving out $500. So,
no, it'll sound good though.
Yeah. It'll probably stay at 250. It's a lot of fun. So we'll say the score prediction.
We'll go up a dollar every week. There we go. We'll go $1.
There's only 5 weeks left, Ralphie.
Joe like the little slot machines. Goes up a penny.
Yeah. Yep.
Slot machines, the 80-year-olds play. So yeah, well, we'll give 200 cut this week, and our score predictions are brought to you by our good friend Alan Foy, eXp Realty. You can give him a call. He's the best. I'm telling you, he's the best in the business. He took care of me, selling my house, buying my house. That's always a hard process for not only realtors.
That's why that house looks familiar on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, the house looks familiar. He just did a lot of work. He did a lot of work behind the scenes, right? That realtors have to do. A lot of phone calls answered, right? A lot of time given. Guy drove 2.5 hours to come up here and take care of stuff. So I can't speak any higher on him than I already am. You know what I mean? Than I already am, and everything he's done. Phenomenal job. Dealt with real estate before. Dealt with mortgage companies. All that matters. You know what I mean? Who he connects with. All those things matter. So give him a call if you're looking to buy or sell. 302-682-8820. Alan Foy, eXp Realty. So our score prediction time. And offensive defensive player of the game. See a lot of people commenting in already. Love it. A lot of blowouts. We talk about it every week. At least I do. I don't know how you slow this offense down unless they slow themselves down by turning the football over. So, it's hard to say 30 again. So I'm gonna say 28.
Damn you.
28-17 Eagles.
It's freaking of all the numbers you picked both of mine. Ralph, go ahead. I gotta regroup.
Sorry.
I had the Birds winning by more than 20. Give me 35-13 Birds.
Jesus, goodness gracious.
Commanders Monday Night Football. Here we come.
Is that Noah?
13 Birds.
Is that Noah over there?
Yeah, listen, somebody's got to do it this week, right? I'll take the blame.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Yep.
Thank you, wealthy mind.
Yep.
I'm going to go Eagles win 28-13.
Gotta change my prediction again. Go
I
ahead,
got the Birds. I got the Birds winning 31-19.
Go pick.
Cromer and I are on the same area. I got 31-17.
Everybody's going 30s.
Just take the Giants, right?
Listen,
hell no. Hell no. I'll go 27-16.
Listen, for what it's worth, when me and Greg are on the same page, Jalen Hurts throws for 4,000 yards and heads an MVP candidate. So,
did you go, Rye?
Yeah, 27-16. I just deducted a point.
Okay. All right, offense and defensive players of the game. So, we talked about some injuries earlier for them on guys that might be questionable or et cetera, right? I just don't know how you slow down our passing attack, especially if you're a little depleted. I'm going to keep running back to the well. He's done well when I picked him. I want him to do well. So I'll take Devontae again.
Nice.
Another TD, 80 plus. Maybe we'll get to 100 again. He's had a really quiet, good season. Good season.
Yeah.
Good season. And if you had an Odell, I mean, my goodness gracious, then you can't cover anybody. So then he might go. It might be a real problem. But no, I mean, him and AJ work great together. When Dallas gets back, it just makes us deeper and better, right? So I'll go Devontae. Let's go.
It's funny too because he's playing that great complimentary second role, right, to that number one because he always seems like he's open, and we saw that a little bit season one, but it's even more glaring now that he's not facing double teams and he's not facing like a lot of the attention because he always seems like he's open.
Yeah, and I feel like when he was seeing double teams, right to your point, like last year, obviously. A lot of them, he showed he can get separation.
He can still find openings. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he was always open last year too, right? I mean, to a point. I mean, last year, he had 916. I mean, this year he's got 61 catches already, 711 yards, 4 TDs, over 11 yards per reception. I mean, that's a pretty good freaking year. In year two, that's going to surpass year one numbers. So it shows us that you got better, right? Which is huge. And he's on the field, knock on wood. Right, He's done a good job of staying on the field for a little guy. He's taking some big hits too. Right, boys? He's taking some boom.
Sure.
That's like it's like Jerry Maguire. They always look worse than they are. You know what I mean? They always look worse than
Ralphie?
Jalen Hurts, mine player of the game, 4 touchdowns.
See, Ralphie, I never take them.
Go out on a limb one time. Why don't you, Ralph? Go out on a limb. Why don't you try like picking stuff at the end of the line, like some of us who like just sit here at the end and go for scraps. And you're always up there first, just picking, jumping out on the. Let me go, Jalen Hurts. Let me step out on that limb.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, I'm never going to take him because I haven't taken him all year. Well, I might take him like once or twice, but he's having like an MVP season. I just steer clear. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not going to let me affect him.
Don't put this
No, not to you. I'm speaking for myself.
I'll put it on him. No.
You guys take whoever you want.
Ralph, he wanted you to say Jack Stahl, Ralph. That's what he
wanted. Yeah, probably.
Or Grant.
Have you ever had to take Grant Calcaterra? Because I've had to.
Well, it might happen in about 20 seconds. It might happen. Go ahead, Frank.
All right. I am going to go with Boston Scott, the Giant Slayer, as my offensive player of the game.
Great pick, Frank. I don't know why.
I mean, that's who I was going to pick too, Frank. The Messiah of MetLife.
Messiah.
Real fucking nickname.
Is that trademark?
Messiah of MetLife. Boston Scott.
Can we get that on a t-shirt?
That should be a shirt.
That's a good one. If it goes off Sunday, like Frank said,
we might have to make it a thing.
And where can we buy said shirts?
ATD merch.
Hey, there we go.
Dynamite dropping, Frank.
Brilliant to the read.
Frank, you took mine, you bastard. I need a minute.
Go ahead. Here, Greg. See, you're not at the back of the line.
Whoa, not at the end. I'll go Miles Sanders. Continue his really good play against a hopefully depleted defensive line.
I'll go with. It's going to be a passing of the torch game, right? Boston Scott is going to take. What did you call him, Chrome? I want to make sure I get it right.
The Messiah of MetLife.
Yes, that. He's going to take that, and he's going to pass it on to a guy who I don't think's that great, but he gets touchdowns. And the Giants have averaged over the last 3 games. They've given up 2 rushing touchdowns per game. Give me Kenny Gainwell, mostly because he's the only running back left.
Damn it, Ryan. That was my other one.
Yeah, and he's been running. He's been running well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's been running better. But you know what, Chrome, just don't get out of your own way right now.
Yeah,
I mean, get out
of
your own way. I'm sorry, get out of it because I think the real guy, if we want to talk about running backs, who's been tremendous this year, you know, even though we went Boston and Kenny, you know, the real guy has been tremendous this year, the number 1 back. So surprised he hasn't gone because he's had a really good year.
Took him.
Oh, you did, Greg? I didn't hear you. Sorry, I was looking up.
You don't ever listen to me. It's fine.
Well, no, I was making sure it was HUDmerch.com. I'm trying to confirm something. HUDmerch.com. I just wanted to make sure I was right. Goodness gracious, I can't win with you.
Listen, I mean, nobody's going AJ, right? Why would I go AJ? He's been one of the top wide receivers in the league. I don't see a reason why that can change this week. He could go off and give us one of those old school TO versus the Giants performances. So I'm going AJ this week.
He is always open.
By the way, might be the best trade in Eagles franchise history.
Relax.
He's fumbling twice now.
Can you relax? Can you talk about the greatest? No. Can you talk about the greatest like trades of all time after we hoisted Lombardi and we're on Broad Street together? And then we're talking about how great guys are. Can we stop? We're not in this for just regular season fucking trophies or participation trophies.
Bro, listen. This dude's on the next level.
It becomes great when you win. Ain't nothing great when you don't win.
The bar is set low as far as a lot of those trades. And with T.O., all they got to do is get to the Super Bowl this year, and it's already on the T.O. level because he only really played one decent year here before he started his shit. So could be on that level by the end of the season.
Yes, it could be.
First, Ralph has us winning by 25. What was it? 25-30? How much was it?
22. It was
but won't take a friendly bet with Spells.
No, even though literally he's exactly what Spells said. So
45-13 Birds.
So it actually covers exactly what Spellman's bet was, but regardless. And now he's saying that the trade's the best ever, and we're in week 14. And this guy's probably going to retire from football and pull an Andrew Luck.
Oh, my God. Here we go.
So we went offensively. Defensively, I'm going to try to talk some picks into some other guys, right? CJ really rewarded me well. You know what I mean? He made me look like I knew what I was talking about. because it was like a 5-week span. I didn't stop making plays.
Yeah.
And then I essentially killed him. I took his kidney out. And I apologize, CJ, for that one. But I'm gonna go defensive backfield again, and I'm gonna go James Bradbury.
Fuck! God damn it!
Gets a pick. Gets a pick and a return to MetLife.
Yeah, that was mine too. It's revenge
Sorry.
for him. He's ready to hand the Giants.
Everybody take him. Don't be shy. I'm not. I don't. You don't have to go against it all the time. If that's where you guys would go.
Warm. You didn't pee in the pool. We can all get in.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bad omen if we all pick the same guy.
Oh, I don't think so at all. I mean,
you're dressed up like Santa. Of course, you don't think it's a problem.
Do it, Crow. Do it. See what happens. All right.
I'm going
Put it
with
on your
Hassan
conscience.
Reddick. I think Hassan's gonna put
This guy just jumped the line.
Put Jones down on his ass. Get 2.5 sacks this week.
Yeah.
People jump the line to see him. Get it right.
Just swooped in.
People jump the
Guy just skipped right in.
He just skipped 3 people.
Yeah, well, guess what? When you're Santa, they skip the line to get to you.
Right.
So you know.
Is that what that's made out of? His friggin' beard over there? Is that what that is? Ralph, go ahead.
Keith, hold on, Keith. Keith, that's never been said in ATD radio history.
Thank you, Keith.
And I love you, Keith.
Can we make that into merch? Can we make that into merch, please, for me? I'll take that as a T-shirt.
That's definitely
Keith,
burner.
you are the man.
His own family would never say that. His own family would never say he's spitting facts.
The only time Grandma's saying that is when he says good meatballs.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I heard that, Greg. If you were wondering, that's why I laughed. If you want to circle back,
Keith, I'm sure you're a great guy, but you are a burner account now. I am just classifying you as a burner account.
Keith, don't listen to him.
Keith is the man. Listen, it's a great trade. Nobody's going to debate that. But can we stop with the franchise history? Can we let it play out?
Let's proclaim that a second after we win the Super Bowl. That could be the first thing. That could be the first thing we say on these airways. But just we have a little bit of time first.
You just give me the Super Bowl, I'll say it. You know what I mean? Like you just give me with a chance, I'll say it. So, but obviously it's a great one. All right,
way,
so
I'll be in Vegas for the Super Bowl. It better be a great one.
Oh, that just went that.
Yeah, I have a work conference that week leading up to it.
Yep, we're fucked
across America.
We are now screwed.
He'll be live betting the freaking Super Bowl, and he'll be putting the freaking.
I already had the ticket. You guys know this.
But we don't want you to put more tickets, though. That's the point. We don't want you live betting the Super Bowl.
Greg, now you're too much around, right?
It's not my fault. My company decided to go Super Bowl week to Vegas.
Some things are bigger than work, Greg. Okay, and that's Broad Street.
Call out sick.
Quit your job, Greg. Right now.
Quit.
I mean, I'm the one extending it to Monday, so I mean, I have an issue. We all know this.
So it is your fault.
Well, yeah, I'm in Vegas. I'm not going to be in Vegas that many more times.
I don't care where you're at. I'm trying to win a Super Bowl here, man.
Me too. I'm trying to cash a ticket.
Ted.
I'm trying to head from Vegas to Reno and then home to cash my tickets.
Yeah, nobody cares anymore. We're over it, Greg.
Yeah.
Ted, AJ helped us absolutely to become a Super Bowl contender. And is it a great trade? Yes. We're talking, he said the greatest trade of all time here. So, I mean, I got to look through. You know, there's some good trades that have happened, I feel like.
Andrews trade.
Like, there's some good trades. But is it a great one?
Trade.
I don't think anybody's arguing. I don't think anybody's arguing that it's a great trade. We just don't want to put bad juju out there like best trade of all time. You know what I mean?
Peters trade.
You said Flacco trade?
No,
Jason Peters trade.
Kiko Alonso. I was
Jason Peters trade is the best trade in franchise history.
Yeah.
If you want to be completely honest.
Yep.
That I remember. Outside of T.O. Obviously T.O. was great, but it wasn't long enough. The one that had longevity is Peters.
Yep.
I mean, that was a bookend, arguably top 3 left tackle in football for almost a decade.
Yep.
So pretty good trade. Pretty good one, even though we're sour on him at the end of his career. But let's not forget how great he was in his prime. I mean, that dude, you ain't getting by that dude. Oh, easy. Just kept cashing checks up.
Yeah.
And I can't be mad at him.
You can't hate him.
No, Jeffrey was like Jeffrey's son. Like, we can't let you go.
I'm still triggered from that conversation we had on
Remember?
the show. I'm still triggered. I'm still so upset.
And I like Jason. I'll never forget. I'll never forget great players. And if you're still making money and somebody's willing to pay you,
there's got to be two sides to that story, right?
Yeah, like
I can want to get paid all I want. There's got to be someone that's going to pay me.
People getting mad at the guy for taking a paycheck. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, $1 million? Okay. I don't have to play. I can play 2 snaps and get hurt. Okay, fine.
Yeah, sign me up for that all the time.
Please. Doing that every 2 years, that's fine with me.
All right, who else got to go?
All right, where are we at?
I'll go. I'm gonna go the other side. Give me Darius Slay. He's been quiet for an interception this week.
Okay, I like it.
Frank, you've had 10 minutes to decide.
I know.
I'm so mad at Frank. I had such a good promo for Boston Scott set up too.
Frank, I saw you in a golf cart.
Like the most basic shit ever.
You saw me on a golf cart?
Yeah,
we saw right by the Wells Fargo. Were you in the golf cart?
No,
okay.
Not the one on the golf cart.
Damn it!
It took me a while to realize what you were thinking, and my player is going to be Nakobe Dean. So,
that's where I thought Tom was going. I thought Tom was doing that.
Tickle me down low, Frankie. Hello, talking to me.
I do have a question somewhere.
You were talking right up my alley here. I love it.
Promotion.
Welcome to the top row.
Like I love how I feel like the top rows became important when it's not. You know what I mean? Like it's just rows. It's just rows. You know what I mean?
When we had it, Ralph was like, I got to put myself at the top.
Sounds about right.
Yep. Runs with me guy right there.
No.
Love that guy in a foxhole.
Switch it.
Yeah, give me a break.
Switch it. Thank you.
Get the fuck out of here.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, if Nakobe plays, he could have a monster game. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I want to go. We brought him up earlier. It seemed like he's been fresher a lot the last couple of weeks. Give me Fletcher Cox.
Okay.
Give me Fletcher Cox there, at least to get a sack.
All right.
Give me Hargrave, Javon. He's had a really good second half of the season.
Yep, for sure. Both guys good picks. Both guys playing better, and Fletcher's playing a lot better with less snaps. I mean, it just makes sense, right? So that's why
that one play he made where he was chasing the quarterback saw him and then he still beat him to the line or to the boundary.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just like he didn't do that last year or 2 years ago with the amount of snaps that he's got to put on.
Ain't nobody doing that with 70 snaps a game.
No.
He ain't got 32 years old or 31 years old. You're dead. No, Ted, no Blankenship. No Blankenship picks. Sorry. You got to earn that.
Quick dark horse for one of the greatest trades of all time, too, by the way. Getting rid of Sam Bradford and getting a first-round draft.
Oh.
That might be
unbelievable.
Yeah, touche.
Was that first round draft pick?
That was the foundation building us a Super Bowl contender.
Barnett, yeah.
Okay. But think about this. Two gigantic strip sacks. Like, let's not forget the one he had in the NFC title game. Yeah. He had a strip sack in the NFC title game, strip sack in the Super Bowl on the biggest drive of the game where we're all saying, yeah, they're going to go down and score. You know what I mean? We know how it works here for us. And Derek Barnett made arguably 2 of the bigger plays in Eagles franchise history. So I mean, when you look at that trade's bigger. It's bigger than he's not a better player, but what's transpired from that pick and that trade was a huge point. Like, who else is getting that strip sack? Maybe they go down and score if Derek Barnett's not out there, right? I don't know, right? I don't got a crystal ball, but
if AJ Brown becomes, ends up being the best wide receiver in the postseason, then that might eclipse it. Or if he has a game-winning, Super Bowl catch or something, then it'll eclipse it. But as of right now, very possible. We probably will need him if we play in a Super Bowl. He'll probably be right up there in targets.
To dump him in that fashion and get a first-round draft pick in any fashion, no matter who it would have been, honestly.
True.
But to have it be a guy who, again, maybe it wasn't the quantity, but it was the quality of the moments of when he made plays, particularly that season, was huge.
You know what, though?
Huge.
I just thought of something. I gotta connect it, but I'm projecting here.
Okay, Graham forced the fumble. Sorry. and that's probably right, Marquise. Graham forced it, and
but Barnett recovered it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was one of the two. I knew. Either way.
We don't get there without both of them. You can't. You know what I'm saying? If you remove,
he had a really good year. He had a really good year that year.
He had. I know at least one or two other strip sacks. I know he had the one against the Raiders. I think Christmas night.
Yep.
Which sealed that game because the Raiders were driving. He had a couple of really big sacks. And not just the Super Bowl year, other years at key moments. It wasn't quantity, but the quality of when he did have moments was always at very important times.
I'll tell you what could arguably be up there as far as best Eagles trades.
Are you gonna say the first round pick from the Saints?
No. Well, what, this one, the one we have?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would be determined. Because I don't know what that. Because we can make a bad pick, even though I don't think we're going to. We can make a bad pick, and that could ruin it.
Bro. To beat the playoffs, we might have a top 5 pick.
You're close, though, Tom. You're close.
We could trade out of that too and stockpile a ton.
We could.
Yeah.
Too. Keep losing. Get me in the top 3. We're looking for quarterbacks. Get me in the top 3. Sell me the farm.
It's the one we did last year. It's the Carson Wentz trade, because the Colts pick ended up. I don't think that was the pick that ended up being the pick we traded for A.J. Brown, but I think it was the pick that ended up being Jordan Davis.
Yeah,
it was.
Which, again, if you do not have that Colts pick, you don't get A.J. Brown, and you don't get either of them, because you have the luxury of moving around the board like how we did that night, knowing you have that second pick.
Right.
So you need that Colts pick to execute the way to get back up for Davis, and to execute, obviously, getting A.J. Brown. So the Carson Wentz thing has like 7 spiderweb effects or butterfly effects, whichever way you want to phrase it.
Oh, it does, and this can be prolonged too. This can go longer, right? And what I'm saying is, you get top 3, top 5, whatever. Teams are really desperate for a quarterback, which they are. I mean, you could be talking about. I'm serious. You could be talking about a first to, a second, maybe 2 seconds in the first, depending on how far a team's got to go, and if you can hold them hostage, right? You have a lot of opportunities to get a haul back for that pick being as high as it is, because if it's that high, dude, give me, I would love that I can't miss player up there too, right? But let me stockpile that, because I'm in good shape, right? And if I can save the money from that pick this year and sign guys, that's a win. You know what I mean? If I can save the money owed to a top 5 freaking pick, right, and trade out of it and wait till later down the road, I'm all in for that. And I love Will Anderson saying, I love some of these guys you could get up there, but I also want to try to keep guys I have. You know what I mean? So there's going to be other Will Andersons. You know what I mean? There's going to be other guys who can play football in years to come. So if you're telling me if you got 2 seconds in a first that for somebody to move up there, you're not doing that deal. I don't care who the hell's on the board. It's a lot of money.
The only reason why I might disagree with that is because you're going to be kind of not cap strung, but you're going to be a little restricted because you're going to have to pay a quarterback.
Right, but not until after next year, though.
What do you mean? Well, they're going to pay him. They're going to pay him this offseason.
He's eligible, but he's still going to make what he makes next year. The cap hit's not going to happen until the year after.
Yeah. Sure.
So I would trade out.
You have literally one more. You literally have
assets for the years after.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's where you're going to need to have.
And
guys.
you literally have this offseason to load up again on talent.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
You need to be able to sign a lot of guys back here. I mean, you're talking about CJ. You're talking about TJ's a free agent. You're talking about Kaiser White's a free agent.
Maybe
Bradbury. Bradbury's a free agent. Jason Kelsey might be done after this year. You have a lot of things going on here. So to me, would I take that impact player? Sure. I'm not mad if they make the pick, right? I'm not going to be like, what are you guys doing? I'm just saying I could see that, thinking like Howie, that, hey, I don't have to pay whatever cap hit that is year one. Say it's $7-8 million. I don't have to pay that year one. I can push that back. That $7 or $8 million can go into me getting a CJ back, right? So, or a Bradbury back. Or both, right? So they got to really play this out smart business-wise, which we know you do a great job with, because you got a lot to worry about coming up here. Yeah. So maybe you do make the pick because whatever, you got 2 first, and maybe you trade out of hopefully 32, right? Yeah. Hopefully you can trade out of 32 and get something back there and save a little money there. But I don't know when the right time to make the picks is. Cap wise, I'm not that kind of nerd. But for the nerds that do that and know, hey, it's better to make the pick 2 years from now than make a pick now, right? So that's sort of where my head could be at. But either way, we talk about the spider web of Carson, right, guys, is insane. Is insane and could lead to keeping this franchise going in a direction they've gone in for so many years, which is they're always on the radar. They're always good. And that's credit to the owner, Jeffrey Lurie, and when we don't give him credit enough. But this team's been relevant for a long goddamn time. And consistently relevant. They're hard to do. Hard to freaking do.
You guys want to run through NFL Week 14?
Pretty soon we're going to be talking about the 6 degrees of Carson Wentz, not the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
No.
Frank, I know it's been a handful of weeks. Do you have our records?
I don't
know. You don't have it written down?
I mean, we got one.
I do have it written.
Okay, we'll check your notes.
Well, we don't need records. Take notes. We'll get records next week.
Yeah, just get us back on track. I just wanted to make sure like it wasn't a lost season.
I'll help you out. I'm last.
I'll help you out on top 3.
Sure, I know everyone's shocked at that.
Yeah, Chrome, Tom, and I are top 3. Greg's last. The other 2 are somewhere in the middle.
All right, we'll make that the starting point then.
Oh my God, we lost the season. Oh my God, that's Frank's way of saying I lost the sheet.
I have it somewhere. It's just I don't know which piece of paper.
I mean,
well, listen, you worry about that.
We live in a technology world, and we're still writing shit on paper.
Listen, get down on the
back to the bottom.
Listen, Greg, keep places like Dunder Mifflin in business here. Okay, have a little respect for Michael Scott and the boys. Frank,
I'm a scrap paper junkie. I'm with you.
Greg, I wouldn't be against Jalen Carter. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not against Jalen Carter. So I want to make this clear. I'm not against Will Anderson. If they draft those guys, I'm like, giddy up.
I thought you were yelling at me for a second. I'm like,
I thought he was too. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on?
If I yelled at you, you'd probably deserve it.
What is that?
No
An elephant?
There's no question.
Yeah.
It's a rhinoceros.
Oh, I thought it was an elephant emoji.
Cass loves rhinos, by the way.
What's the other emoji, Frank? Is he doing the YMCA? What is it?
Yeah, we got some rhinos and we got a lot of this going on.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, you get your goddamn writing on. All right. So let's go over our picks. Week 14, giddy up.
All right. So we start off. The Las Vegas Raiders travel to the Rams. The Raiders are 6.5-point favorites. The over/under set at 43.
Yeah. Lock this in, Frank. Raiders.
Yeah, give me Raiders.
They're playing good football.
Yeah.
Playing good football.
Took them 10 weeks, but they're awake.
I mean, Carr and Devontae have got it together, right? I mean, that's the big thing. Like their chemistry is now where it needs to be. It wasn't for a minute. Like they were still making plays, but now you can see that relationship. Like they were obviously close in college. You know what I mean? But it's been a minute since they've thrown each other the football, and I think that is starting to work too, even though Josh McDaniels is a loser. But sure.
Give me the same lock as Tom, Frank.
Good to have you.
Yeah. Got to keep pace.
Give me the Rams plus 6.5.
I love it, man.
Thursday night footballs are just weird games.
Same.
So Baker Mayfield's going to come out slinging tomorrow.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm going to take the Rams.
I don't care if he plays or not. I'm still taking the Rams.
Tom's son Baker is going to come out slinging 4 TDs, 4 tutties.
Who's playing quarterback for them? Are you guys okay?
Baker.
Thursday night, he just got there.
You know what?
He's a pro. He's a pro's pro.
Part of the room.
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
I thought Baker was going to change Cleveland's franchise, which essentially he did, right? It's not to the level I think I thought he could. I mean, he did change it because they started winning football games.
But he's going to take over in Los Angeles. He's going to get him back to the promise.
Nothing you do in Carolina and Matt Rule's little run do I take for anything. Makes sense for any quarterback that goes there because that's a shit show down there, right? All that being said, there ain't no shot a guy 72 hours into a playbook is beating the Raiders. And the Raiders aren't great. I don't know how you're doing it.
There was no shot until tomorrow night. I'll take the 6.5 for the Rams as well.
I'm rooting for the Rams, honestly, even though I put a lock on the Raiders. To James's point, helps our pick. Sorry, Don, but it helps our pick if they win. We need some of these other teams to start losing. That way, the Saints go up to like top 2.
Yeah, I'm not there. You know what I mean? I can't base my picks off of that, even though I agree.
Oh, I didn't. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I know you did.
I'm in a win-win scenario. I'm like, I lost a lock. I lost some money, but our pick's better.
I'm just chalking up the Rams of not winning anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh, they stay. Yeah, they stay.
Well, they play the Broncos, so that's a win.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
So they got to play each other.
Dude, how bad was that Broncos-Ravens game? Oh, my God. It was horrendous.
I felt it's more of an indictment, in my opinion, of the Ravens, though. And I know they had Tyler Huntley, but still.
Ravens
he might be better than Lamar, though.
Might be like, hey, we don't need to pay you, Lamar. We have Tyler Huntley.
I've never seen anything like the national media make excuses for teams like the Bucs for as long as they did, the Ravens for as many fourth quarter games as they've blown throughout the year. All these teams who are perennial contenders, making excuses for them. However, up until literally just this week, would not give the Eagles their due credit.
I'm sure ESPN Analytics probably said that the Ravens have a better chance of winning the Super Bowl, right?
Well. This has become comical to me. Okay, and I don't need your respect, but what it tells me and what it's confirming is that the national media and some of these guys who do it nationally, they can't have a feel.
Yeah.
You understand? Unless they were a fan of the team or played here, right? They don't have a feel for life. They don't watch it like we do. They're not watching Red Zone like a bunch of junkies too and seeing everybody else from around the league. You know what I mean? They're just like, they're just going off of like whatever drives stupid publicity or traffic, right? So there's no substance. And this is what we've learned over the years, right? When it comes to the national media talking about your team, nobody has a clue unless it's like Kevin Gandhi talking about the Philly sports teams, right? You know what I mean? Because he's from here, that's his teams. So it's all relative, right? But if there's like Stephen A talking about the Eagles, shut up. You don't even do a good job with basketball, and that's your sport. Shut up. So some of these guys don't have a feel. Like, so it just depends on who's talking. But when you're talking about analytics and ESPN like analytics, that's nerd city. So none of those guys have a feel for life. They're not watching the Eagles. If you watch the Eagles and the Cowboys and you sit at home and say, Cowboys are better than the Eagles, they got a way better chance of winning the Super Bowl. I don't think we're watching the same two teams. Like, I just don't think we're watching the same two teams. And I'm sick of it. This team's 11-1. They've won football games in every fashion. There's been nobody more dominant in the National Football League. When you look at where their offensive ranks and their defensive ranks, that doesn't come up in your analytics. That doesn't show up because it shows up when I search it. You know what I mean? It searches up there. So who's not searching that? So that's what I've been watching the game. If you watch the game, you say, wow, this team is good, man. Like, they're good. And so if you watch this on Monday night, you say, all Jalen does is run. You know what I mean? I got a shot. Well, did you not tune in the next Sunday?
Probably not.
You know, like one of the guys on Facebook was like, Eagle, all these other guys have 30 touchdowns, like Barrow, Mahomes, and Allen. So he doesn't. I said, bro, he has 29 total. Like, we're running out of criticisms. And Dan Shilio, I think he is for JK Media.
That guy. Yeah,
he says his career won't last 10 years because of his style. His style. Do you watch his style? First off, forget about his style. Forget about taking some tough hits at times. At this point of what he's proven, if you say that you don't believe in him for anything, I think you're an idiot. With all due respect, I think you're an idiot. Like, at this point, like, everything we thought he couldn't do, he did. So I think at some point you have to say, you know what, man? To think this guy isn't going to accomplish something is sort of disrespectful. You know what I mean? Like, he's pretty much proven how much he can get better, how much of a worker he is. So to say his style doesn't last, dude, the NFL doesn't last. Right?
Now's not the time to pick and choose. Well, and try and critique Jalen Hurts. It's not the time.
Not for long leg. It's not for long leg.
His style is the NFL. This is the new prototypical quarterback now.
Bring up Josh Allen, bro.
All of them use their legs and create plays. They extend plays. They run the football. This is now the prototypical quarterback is not a statue in the pocket anymore. It's not
lazy.
It's an example. It's an example of people, again, looking at the stats, looking at highlights, and watching them run a little bit. Again, we talked about it 2 weeks ago. We talked about it this past game. When, again, people said 2 weeks ago, oh, all he can do is use his legs. He followed it up where he didn't use his legs at all. He ran for 12 yards. He used his arms. Pretty damn good. And we said it back-to-back weeks. He's not running.
Almost 400 yards passing.
Yes.
I mean,
is 3,000 yards good in a season?
It's pretty damn good. And Ralphie.
We're not even done yet. Sorry, we're not even at 16 games, Ralphie. Yeah. We're not even at 16 yet. So,
with what, 5 to 6 weeks left of football?
Well, Ralphie, and he had almost 400 yards passing, and he got pulled with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter for Minshew show. So I don't want to hear, oh, all he needs to do is use his legs. That's all he can do. No. If you actually watch the games, he runs because he can, not because he has to. Mahomes runs because he can, not because he has to. That's the difference between the running quarterbacks and how they don't translate and what we're seeing from Jalen Hurts. That's the difference. And people don't want to understand that for some reason. Even though all he's done is win.
So he's going to crush last year's numbers. He already smoked it in touchdowns, per se. It's only going to get better. He threw for 3,100 last year. He's on pace. He's on pace for he could put up another K. He could put up another 1,000 in the amount of games that are left. Easily. So you're on pace for 4K. So anything that you say negatively about the guy, it to me is lazy. Or you just have an agenda that I'm not going to say on air, but I'll show on air. The type of person outside of just looking for attention or looking for clicks, this type of person probably is the style of guy that is going to continue to critique Jalen Hurts at this point or be negative.
Just a small sample, too, to kind of pound that home, right? He's got the same amount of touchdowns as Derek Carr in like 70 less attempts.
Matters. Substance matters.
5 less touchdowns. And this is just passing, too. This isn't the total, right? So 5 less touchdowns than Josh Allen in just under 100 more attempts. Joe Burrow, 5 less, just under 100.
Like, I mean, I do think there's one.
Patty Mahomes. Now, Patty Mahomes is ridiculous, but he also has the best tight end in football. But he's also thrown 110, 112 more times to get those 10 more touchdowns, right? So, like, if they're throwing, because we have a really good running game, not just Jalen either, right? Because we have a really good running system, he's not throwing the ball as often as some of these other guys are who don't have the running games behind them. And he's still right on pace with all of their stats, or at least the touchdowns.
He's a star.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think, and again, I do think there's one slight criticism that's sitting out there that we have to wait and see how it's answered, and that's what's he going to be like in the playoffs, because it wasn't impressive last year. However, this is again where the difference comes in, right? You hear a lot of the conversation now is, everything is Eagles and Cowboys. Who do you trust more in a playoff run at this point? Do you trust Jalen or do you trust Dak? And the criticisms against Jalen is, well, he only had the one playoff game and it wasn't a great appearance. Even though he's shown this year all that growth and this and that, we're going to trust Dak, who's 1-4 in the playoffs. There was 1 or 2 of the games that didn't really cost him, but last year he had that awful play at the end of the year. You have to be smarter than that and hand the fucking ball to that referee to let him touch the ball before you run a play. He had another one before where he threw a pick at the end of a game and cost them a game. He has cost them games in the playoffs.
Well, but
yet they're like, well, Jalen Hurts, even though he's like clearly the more talented quarterback even now, we don't trust him because he only had the one playoff game and it wasn't good.
That's why analytical department didn't get that.
But see, that's why I laugh at like how, again, this isn't like a.
And what has Dak done? What has Dak done?
Ralphie, that's exactly
Seriously,
it.
let's look at that resume, man.
They want to talk about everything like, oh, you can't trust the Eagles, in the playoffs, but then they go to a team where literally my entire lifetime you can't trust them in the playoffs. My entire life.
Isn't it?
Hold on, it's bigger than
the same guy that went. What was it, 13-3 his first year and got out in the first round?
Yes, and they had the offensive and I think the rookie of the year on that team, both of them, him and Zeke. Yes.
You know what Dallas doesn't have? They don't have
a good coach.
Well, yeah, whatever on Mike McCarthy, right? I'll go deeper than that. they don't have winners inside their locker room like the Philadelphia Eagles still do. Okay, that's the crazy thing. Like from 2017, we still have some leftovers, but those leftovers are the leaders. Yeah. Those leftovers are the alphas.
Lane,
yes.
Jason Kelsey.
Yes.
The list goes on from that 17.
Fletcher's
still there.
So I mean, there's leftover and a I think that means more than like anything we can
100%
ever talk about.
100%.
When guys have been there and they're your alphas already, though. Like those guys are respected, great players in this league, right? And when younger guys come in, it's easier to buy into the culture. That's obviously at some point going to be left to these younger guys, but you teach these guys, right? The guys that want to learn because they've drafted well. And listen, I think that matters when you talk about when Rye said like the national media will say, well, like Eagles aren't built to win. What? Well, they have winners right here. They have Super Bowl winners, not just like guys who won a lot of guys who won a lot of games or playoff game, but didn't hoist the Lombardi. This is guys who were like Lane Johnson's arguably the best right tackle in football. He's a winner. Jason Kelsey arguably the best center in football. He's a winner. Okay, Brandon Graham after tears his Achilles. Guys now back playing like it never happened. Yeah. Not even a year later, which is amazing.
And
moving. Fletcher still got some gas in the tank. It's not empty. It just needs less of a workload. So those guys are freaking winners and still here. So freaking miss me with this roster isn't built for that. Go jerk off somebody with that crap. That's a joke. That's a disgrace. That's lazy. I'm so sick of it. This team's 11-1. Anybody else 11-1 around the league? They're freaking blowing them.
We saw with the Phillies too, right? The Phillies made a couple of those additions of pure veterans, right? And they had a huge impact on how far we went, right? When you look at like Schwarber especially, guys that just come in with a pedigree of winning, right?
We stunk all year. All year, and then all of a sudden, lights turn on.
And to your point, right? It's that mentality of right. All right, that was one at bat, right? That was one game. You know what I mean? Like we're going to turn the page and we're going to move on. And you're absolutely right. It's huge that no one talks about.
Nope. Yeah. And this is by no means to take shots at Dallas, even though we enjoy doing it. Like we're not saying they're a bad football team. I think we would all say that Dallas is probably our toughest competitor in the NFC. It's just to say for all the reasons why people list, hey, here's why you can't trust the Eagles. You cannot really say that in Dallas's behalf. No. Dak Prescott is not somebody who has a career resume of being awesome in the playoffs, and that can same go for his teammates and his coach and et cetera, et cetera. If this was like, hey, this is Tom Brady on the Dallas Cowboys with Bill Belichick or Andy Reid as their coach, okay, fine. Then we're in a different story. But this is everybody wants to talk about how Dallas is in a different class than the 11-1 Eagles. Show me where they differ. They differ because it really in no instances where it helps Dallas. I
don't want to be lazy here, but the fact of the matter is they haven't won in the playoffs since I was a kid. So that matters. Like that's the biggest trend in sports. And I don't want to be lazy about it and bring that up, but that's the truth. And that's all stems to who's the owner of the team. And your owner runs the show.
Mr.
Your
Me.
owner.
Mr. Me.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
Go ahead.
So Xander Bogaerts, the Padres finally got somebody, has agreed to an 11-year, $280 million contract with San Diego.
Damn.
Listen, I don't care about it, all the money, right? I care about the player. That's a gigantic pickup for the San Diego Padres. I mean, you want to talk about who you got to look at, who you think you're going to go against? I mean, that team was already really good. That just seemed to even got better offensively. And he's a double machine. I think it'd be a double machine in Petco for sure. And he's tremendous defensively. So they got their guy after they went in on a bunch of guys. And that's scary to me because I think they're our biggest competitor in the National League, in my opinion, even better than the Braves with that signing.
They loved Kim too. So this had to be what you saw Kim didn't do offensively in the playoffs, right? This had to be a reaction to what Kim wasn't able to do with the bat in the playoffs because they were already ready to give Kim the everyday job, or it seemed like it, everyday job at shortstop so they can put Tatis out in center or right or wherever.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. How does this affect him?
This is huge.
Yeah, screw the picks tonight. I think we just dive into some baseball. I say we just for a week say screw the picks. Screw the picks, right, boys? I mean, this is hot stove talk. I mean, this is great.
The original saying.
Rip off the script tonight. You know what I mean? No.
So, I'm going 4-0 this week. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I don't even care. We'll mail in our picks. Maybe they get there, maybe they don't, right? You know what I mean? We'll see if they get there. I don't even give a rat's ass about picks. Go win yourself some money. We just do it to have fun and talk football. But when the Phillies are doing all this and other teams are, this is exciting. This is exciting. And so we'll go through a little bit of baseball in a minute, and obviously how good San Diego just got, and another team in the NL got better today too. I hate to say it, because no disrespect to Yachty, he was done. You know, he was done, and they went and got himself another bat. Maybe it'll help Goldie and Arenado hit in the playoffs. Probably not. But we'll talk about the addition to Trey Turner, Walker.
Good job closing it out yourselves.
The guy we got from the Red Sox, he's a reliever. Schramm. Yeah, he's a guy. That one doesn't matter. But
he's a K machine though.
I think he's a good pick.
He's a guy though. He's a guy. He's not like a guy who's gonna wow the country. Like, wow, this signing. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like the other two. Trey Turner's Walker's solid.
He's good,
above average, right? And this one's just like it's an okay move. All right, we'll see how it plays out. It's a lefty, right? It's a lefty out of the pen. We'll take it.
Going down the checklist, right? Yep. You know, top guy Turner needed an arm in the rotation. Now we got to work to the bullpen. Let's start with a lefty because he's better than Brad Hand, so that's all I care.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Anybody's better than Brad Hand.
Brad Hand's going, Knievel's going, like literally just bring in somebody.
Cassian's not even a lefty. He throws better than Brad Hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Thank God he's going. Thank God.
But I would like I said in our group chat, like I put waivers out and feelers for Robertson for sure, because I'm not deep back there and there's not a lot of arms. And Kenley Jansen. I don't care how old he is.
Kenley just got signed by the Red Sox.
When did that happen?
This afternoon, like 2 for 32.
Of course. When I can't say it.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm in work. I can't get on my phone. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm happy all these guys are going to the other league, though.
Yeah, I agree, Ryan.
You brought up Knebel, and at this point, like if he could be healthy, I'd bring him back for a year.
Yeah,
in the middle relief role, right? You're not my closer. We know you can't do that.
No.
But he excelled in that 7th inning, that 6th, 7th inning role before he got hurt. He was really good.
Yeah. Him and David Robertson make you better at the end of the day. Him and David Robertson make you better. I think they're two guys that you have to bring back, because you can't just rely on those two hogs. And you're obviously going to need other guys to step up, but you just can't rely on those two guys. But the Trey Turner signing is
big.
Ralph, you know what? It's amazing, because a lot of guys, when they hit 29, 30, they maybe lose their speed a little bit, right? Which a lot of his game's based on too. I mean, obviously he rakes, but this dude is can still fly. I mean, this dude still flies. And when you're talking about
slide in the game.
You can only throw over twice. You can only do certain things.
He's still 60 bags.
I mean, he's going to steal a ton of bags too. His impact and what it allows Stott to have to go to the second, and it helps that development in a bigger way too, because now there's not as much pressure. And this lineup, and I want to ask you guys, this lineup to me is the best in baseball. I think it's arguably the best lineup we've seen here. It's really close to that. In 2008 are like, wow, and this might be better. So I want your guys' feel, because I think it is the best lineup in baseball because of different things that other lineups don't offer. This lineup offers contact and spots in it where there's not a lot of strikeouts. And they're when you talk about Bowman, you talk about Stott, those guys for younger guys, sort of put the ball in play. Mm-hmm. And Turner's a put the ball in play cat. And I think just the ability, if you lead him off and you just fill in the rest of your lineup, I mean, this team should win 100 games. I mean, they should win 100 games.
Easily and win the division. Mm-hmm. Easily and win the division. Because if you look down the lineup, if it is the same where Harper and Reese and Real Muto and everybody like that is back, correct? We would think Hoskins is back.
Yeah, he will be.
Who you pitching around? Seriously, who are you pitching around? Not a lot of guys in the lineup you're pitching around.
Tom, to your question, I have to pull up the 2008 lineup, but I just remember you had like a top 5, and then it's kind of like, okay, what's after that? And by no means was that like a really, it was
Carlos Ruiz, it was Feliz, it was guys, but like obviously that lineup won something, right? So
yeah,
the biggest key to your question for is it better than 08? Is it the best in the bigs? What is Castellanos? If Castellanos becomes that, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm just saying, like if you look at the lineup I put out the other day, I had him 7th.
I'll take that.
I didn't see. I would have to.
You had 7. Yeah,
I mean he can work his way up for sure.
Turner,
but
you went Turner, Realmuto, Harper.
Thank you for not putting
Schwarber.
You went lefty. Yeah, Schwarber.
No, I don't give a shit about that. People were asking me, you care about lefty? I said, what do I care about lefty?
Reese and Castellanos.
No, I went Bohm. Yeah, Bohm, Reese,
before Reese. Yeah.
Castellanos, Stott, Marsh. Yep. So I mean, that's day 1 lineup.
If Castellanos is anything better than what he was, like I'm not saying
he's got it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He can't be worse.
No.
Mm-hmm. He was top 10 in the NL before he got hurt.
Right. I don't know how. Before he got hurt, he was top 10 in NL
worse year at the end of the year than he did this year. There's no shot. He comes back thriving this year.
Yeah, it is. 100%. It is hard. It is hard sometimes. It is hard depending on your situation. Like every guy's different, right? Some guys struggle year 1 of contracts because it's pressure. You're moving to a new city. Yeah. Everything's different and whatever. And I'm not chalking that up to that. Guy looked lost all year. I mean, defensively, he came up with some big plays, but I think year 2 he settles in more. He's too good. He's been too good of a hitter over his career to just not be able to hit anymore. And
I think Cincinnati too. He did the same thing.
Well, listen, and you got to throw fastballs down the 7-hole. I'm not saying you're always going to get fastballs, but like down there, it's like you're almost wearing a pitcher out. You're wearing a pitcher out before you even get there. I got Turner Realmuto 1-2 and Harper batting in the first inning all the time. And the guy who led the NL in home runs is going to bat 4 where he belongs.
Who are you pitching around, man? Seriously,
my 5-hole hitter can hit 15, and then I bounce it back with a single hand there, and Reese loses the baseball for 30.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, this is why this lineup's so dangerous. Just as a
fan. By the time the pitcher gets to Castellanos at 7, he might be at 32 pitches in the first inning.
There's only two guys in this lineup that I don't know what I'm getting, and it's Castellanos and it's Marsh. Everybody else, I know what I'm getting.
Well, I think you got to look at Marsh as like a combo guy too. I'm not worried about Marsh. Like we talked in another group message Greg was in. Yeah. Like if Marsh plays damn good defense, I don't care about his bat down the 9-hole. And then if it's not Marsh playing, it's probably Vierling. And they're enough when you're this loaded, right? Like down there's enough because if you look at the other key, right, the other key's right above him, in my opinion. That's Stott. Like does Stott even get better? And if Stott gets even better year 2, you're talking about your 8-hole hitter? Are you guys kidding me? Your 8-hole hitter can
and he runs up the pitch count. Yeah. At bare minimum. If he's not hitting, he's taking a pitcher, he throw 9 pitches in a
Imagine that, right? You're down to the 8-hole and you're getting grinded out. I mean, are you fucking kidding me?
This lineup is going to be good.
I wouldn't have blinked if you let him off. You know what I mean? Like because of those bats.
I think that's the plan in like 2 years. I think that's going to happen, to be honest. Where he's your 2-hole hitter.
I just until Turner proves that he cannot keep that speed, and I don't know that it's going to happen in 2-3 years. I think that's years 6, 7, right? But until that happens, Turner's got to be your leadoff with these new rules. You have a bigger base. You have the the throwovers limitation. He's got to be your leadoff guy. He's got to be. It makes no sense to put Schwarber or anybody who's going to clog the bases off in front of him because he's going to do that. He's going to clog the bases for a guy that's going to steal 60 bases.
And to be honest,
no reason not to.
We haven't had a prominent leadoff hitter since Jimmy. A dominant leadoff hitter since Jimmy.
Because the Dodgers did it wrong too. Like in reality, to me, Mookie's better like 2, 3. Mookie's better. Trey Turner's better leadoff hitter than Mookie. So they did it wrong when that's Dave Roberts because he's a loser. So we can't act like they act. Like, okay, I'm all in for a leadoff homer, but I can get a guy on and then get a homer. So I mean, you got to look at it that way too. And it's not like the guy leading off can't lose a baseball. So it's not like
just stealing bases causes so much havoc.
I mean, listen, first off, listen to this. Hear me out on this. You got to look at the fact that it's not like Turner can't hit 25. So you're not getting a guy who bats 300 and it's 8 home runs. You know what I mean? Like the old school leadoff hitters. You're getting a guy who can hit doubles. You're getting a guy who can lose a baseball. You're getting a guy who can bat 300. You're getting a guy who can steal 50 bags in these new rules, right? Mm-hmm. So when you look at all that, it's a no-brainer to lead them off. Now, the only other argument they would have, the analytical freaking jerk-offs, is, well, Schwarber loses a baseball and then Turner becomes a leadoff hitter. That's the only thing they could say. I don't agree with it. I'm giving you what a nerd would say.
Because no, you're right. What, 30 times is better than a 300 hitter there, right? Like how many actual leadoff home runs did he hit? 10, 12?
And how many can he hit with Turner on?
Well, that's exactly it. Wouldn't the nerds also say, hey, 2 is bigger than 1? Trey Turner gets on base all the time. Hey, also he's going to steal a ton of bases, which is going to help Schwarber, which they're going to help both of them. And since Schwarber loses a baseball a time or two, you're turning all of those single home runs into 2-run home runs. I do not understand.
That's key for success, man.
The Kyle Schwarber leadoff thing. It didn't make sense.
It's not working. It's not working this year.
It makes even
I
less
need
sense.
Trey to lead off.
I need 46 of those homers or whatever it was to be with guys on base.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm
way too many solos. Way too many solos.
I'm gonna put him in my 4 hole and just go to bed. Now I agree with Sweeps. What Sweeps said, even though I put him 7th, that's my personal lineup, right? I don't know. I don't believe they're gonna do that.
He's gonna go 5. He's gonna go 5.
Oh yeah, he's 5 or 6.
Harper and Schwarber potentially.
Or where I had Alec. I had Alec batting 5th because I wanted after Schwarber, I wanted another guy who gets on base, right? To bring Reese up. To then bring Reese up with a guy on. That's how I looked at the lineup, right? And then that's why I did it. That's why I did it that way. But I agree. You could probably swap those 2, and that's more likely. It. Like Alec will probably be batting 7th, and Castellanos is batting 5th or 6th.
What's crazy is right after we signed Turner, they had Al Leiter and somebody else on MLB Network breaking it down. And they ran through a montage of Trey Turner at bats, right? When Trey Turner is up in the at-bat, he's full leg kick looking to do damage.
Yep.
Right? Full, up in the count, 2-0, 3-0, 2-1, right? Full leg kick looking to do absolute damage. And he does that, right? Yep. But when he's down in the count, even if it's just 0-1, you know what I mean? When he's down 1-2, whatever, if he's down in the count, he's very light, very little kick, and just let's put the ball to right field. Let's put the ball in play. Let's let my speed, dictate and determine what happens here. That's such a huge bonus when you have a guy in the middle of a bat can go through 2 different approaches. Signing is just it's unreal. I mean, it's such a great addition to this lineup because we had so many guys that were swing and miss last year that we needed this type of bat in our lineup.
He's a perfect gel into what we have because we talked about it was a lot of inconsistency. It's a hot and cold streak, and it's okay, can we get a 2-week span where we have a few of these guys that are hot at the same time? With this, to your point on how perfect of a gel he kind of fits right in with this lineup, I found this stat on MLB Network. It might have been the same thing you're referencing, Greg, where it talked about his batting average in 2022 against lefties, righties, home and road, bases empty, and runners on. I'm just going to read you these. It's the definition of consistency, which is exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Versus lefties, 298 batting average. Versus righties, 298 batting average. At home, 292. On the road, he's actually better, 303. Bases empty, 295. Runners on, 300. That's exactly what you need in a lineup with what we have, where it's kind of okay, Reese is on for 2 weeks, then he doesn't know how to play. Castellanos, if he's able to play at all, okay, he's going to have a cold streak, and then he's going to go hot for a couple weeks. this is perfect because it's almost like a leveled out of excellence. This guy at his medium is excellent.
Yeah, and the only problem Trey's ever had is injuries, right?
Yeah.
Trey's never had a problem when he's playing, how good he is. And I think the bigger thing than all the numbers and all the offensive stuff, which is the reason you get the guy the money like this, because he is that tremendous. But the other side for us, which is even bigger, is we have a real shortstop. I mean, we have a real shortstop who's a stud. And the defensive side of this is even more important, right? Because now if you talk about a lineup that can swing it and pick it,
yep,
that's big, boys. It's not about just swinging it. You got to be able to play really good defense. Rye just gave those numbers, which is like the consistency there. You go to the consistency to the defensive side of things. It's there too. And that's so big because you're not getting a one-way player. You're just not getting the offensive production. You're shoring up your middle. And we talk about it. What wins? Your middle better be money. Your middle better be money defensively. And this really makes our middle really good. Really good.
It's a middle that's built to win now and built for the future. And we posted this stat on A2D socials, but for anyone who missed it, I'll read it again. It's tremendous both on the field and then when you look at the financials. Compared to the 2022 opening day middle infield with the second base and shortstop, you had Gene Segura last year when you're talking about annual money. Mm-hmm. Gene Segura was making $14.9 million. Didi Gregorius was making $15.3. That added to $30.2 million total. Then you look at, you get Trey Turner and Bryson Stott, two better players. It's got to be more, right? No, it's actually not. It's cheaper than what it was last year, and it's better. So the 2023 opening day AAV for shortstop and second base, you have Bryson Stott making $700,000 and Trey Turner making $27 million. That adds up to $27.7. So it's roughly $2.5 million cheaper than it was last year, and it's astronomically better.
And that's how they look at it, right? That's how front office looks at that. And that's why, Tommy, your rant is perfect, about like the years and the money. The Phillies were the one that wanted to go 11 years.
Yes.
They got to the number of 300. The Phillies were like, you want 13? No, 13 is a little long. Okay, well, how about 11? Right? Because they want to stretch that out to exactly what that stat says is so the annual isn't as much, and the annual gives them a little bit more flexibility to do things. Right? So the Phillies
you don't sign Walker.
Are the ones saying, do you want to go 11 years? How about 12? Can we?
Because you can't sign Walker. You can't sign Walker as well. You know what I mean? So they understand when you talk about baseball and like other sports, one player just ain't going to win you a championship.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to build a team still. And I think the big thing is when you talk about ownership, most ownership doesn't want to spend. What Dave Dombrowski, everywhere he's gone, has got owners to spend if you think about it. Think about everywhere he's been. They've sold stuff. They spent a lot of money to win, right? Everywhere. And his ability, he came to a place where a guy wanted to spend. You know what I mean? He came to a place where guys say stupid money. I mean, you can't. It's a match made in heaven.
Can I be honest with you? My biggest takeaway from this entire week, which has been tremendous, it's not even about anybody who's here. My biggest takeaway was Matt Klentak was so bad at his job. It's actually illegal how bad he was. And we thought he sucked. But it's like, as bad as we knew he was when he was employed and that idiot Andy McPhail, as time progresses and you actually get a grown-up in the room like Dave Dombrowski, an actual winner, somebody who knows how to do his job properly, it's even showing even more. We're discovering even more years later how bad he was at his job. It's amazing.
Well, you know what? It wasn't even about him spending because that's not what they were doing. He came in to build it back up, right? He came in because he's a nerd and we're going to draft well, and he didn't do that well. Right. Okay, he didn't do that well at all. So the rebuild could never happen. It was okay we were losing for a minute because we had an agenda to try to let's get better. Let's get a better farm system. Well,
let's restart the cupboard.
Yeah. Well, guess what? You just jerked me off and stopped. Like you started and then you stopped.
And only Vaughn's in the cupboard.
Yeah, that's what you did to me. So I got no time for that. Sweeps, you're 100% spot on.
Absolutely, Sweeps.
I mean, and that's coming from a Cardinals fan. JT Turner, Stott, Marsh up the middle. You'd be hard pressed to find a team with a better defensive four up the middle. It really is, and that's not trying to be a homer. Stott at second is just feels better. And he was very good at short, right? But I think second, he's even better. I feel like he's even better.
Well, and it even allows you towards the end of the contract, if you have to, just a little swapperoo, right?
Yeah,
but you probably have somebody, at that point that you could fill into one of them, right? If you needed
probably
to.
batting 10 by that time in the contract. You know what I mean? You have two DHs.
With EHs, runners and all that stuff.
Extra hitter. We've been 11 guys by
soap and supple as I'm running down. I'm yelling for a runner. Let's go, runner.
Guys don't have to run no more. There's a ghost runner on second.
Can you imagine? I feel like 11. I feel like 11. We're talking about 11 years. We're going to have 11 batters in 9 years because all these contracts are going so deep. They're going to be like
45 minutes long now.
Yeah, that's the thing. We
got to find where to bat these guys when they're 40. You know what I mean? Aaron Judge is going to be like 41 by the end of his deal. Are you kidding me?
The amount of people that are obsessed over the 11 years, like I was saying to somebody yesterday, I said, do we need to remember how long 11 years is? First off, you know what 11 years is? The amount of years we waited for the Phillies before this past year to get to the postseason. Yeah. And all we talked about was, oh my God, that's a lifetime. Well, that's literally what we're talking about with the Trey Turner contract.
Listen, you can't have it both ways. All right, exactly. That's what I said in my video. You can't have it both ways. Like you want to win now. The window's to win now. You have 3 to 5 years to go win. Go win. I'll worry about 11 years in 11 years. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll bitch and moan then about how could you give Trey this money? Right. Well, how can you give Bryce his money? You're the same people that got so excited about the Bryce Harper and didn't care if he gave him 40 years. But then when it comes to going and getting players around them that are his friends too, right? That fit into the clubhouse. That fit into the clubhouse. And another winner. Are you kidding me? I'll give him 42 years because I don't give a shit about the years. John Middleton might not even be here in 11 years. So you can't worry about years. Go kiss my ass with years. I'll give him. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you're saying because of that, Dombrowski, to his credit, hasn't done what he's done yet. I'm going to knock on wood, and totally destroyed our farm system yet because he's had an owner that says just go out and spend the money.
Yeah.
Because he's normally a guy that just burns everything down.
Trade machine. Yeah.
They just turned 70. You talking about think he cares about 11 years from now? You know what I mean? He just turned 70. Yeah,
it's going to be 81, bro.
Somebody said to me
to his
yesterday,
credit, he hasn't burned the farm system down. So we still have reinforcements coming there, especially on the arms. I watched the video today of Robbie T talking about Painter and Abel and McGarry. Like, dude, they're guys, they're close.
Painter's ready.
He said that's what he said. He said Painter is going to have every opportunity to win that spot.
The funny thing too is somebody said to me yesterday, "Oh, well, aren't you worried that Trey Turner is going to be getting paid, still $27 million in 11 years?" I said, one, no, I don't care about what happens in 11 years. I don't care what happens in 5 years. That's beside the point. You look this past year, Noah Syndergaard in 2022 was making $20 million. Now we know the annual, value and the annual salaries are going to go up every year. So 27 is going to look like chump change in 5 years, let alone 11.
Yeah, you'll be paying him 11
already
million.
Looks like a deal.
Well, it looks
like it'll be relevant to like $10 million a year, right, guys?
Yes.
So it'll be like
men are making that money. Yeah. And right now, Trey Turner is he is the 17th highest paid guy in the league, which is hysterical to me.
Sleeve says MLB all Viagra team in 10 years. Turner, Harp, Judge, Bogarts, DeGrom, Verlander at 60. Yeah, it is.
Here's my question though, and I think this could be it could be taken as a stupid question because we know how much of a superstar Bryce Harper is, especially after this postseason. But this is kind of like what we talk about, not to his discredit Harper, back in 2019, but how it came with the little extra glitz and glamour, the big star. Why we thought Middleton might really want him because not only is he a great player, but he's a bigger star than a Machado, for example. Am I wrong in saying that Trey Turner today or a couple days ago when we signed him is actually a better player than what Bryce Harper was when we signed him? Because he's the best shortstop at his position. I don't know if we could have said that Bryce Harper was the best right fielder at the time. Trey Turner, in my opinion, I mean, it's close, right?
I think you could probably say more consistent. Right, but Harper's going to bring that flair. Harper's going to bring that box office.
Right. So Harper's star. Harper's star power. And what comes with Harper is guys wanting to come play with Harper. And what's happened here, if we really look at it, is he's got all his boys in town. I mean, it can't be a bigger party. So when you talk about road a lot in Major League Baseball, that shit matters. And if you remember how well they played down the stretch on the road and away on the road in the postseason because they love being with each other. I mean, shit. And you had another boy in there, another one of his guys. Are you kidding me? This is like a fucking kumbaya. I mean, this is a hug fest. This is sleeping head to. This ain't even sleeping head to toe. You know what I mean? It's like we don't need
big spoon, bigger spoon, bigger spoon.
Yeah, like we don't need two beds. Just give us one big king. Give us a big double.
This is like Fast and the Furious 10, where at the end we're all just talking about family. You know what I'm saying?
It's all it is. I mean, look at the roster. Schwartz came here because of him. Castellanos came here because of him. Well, Trey Turner came here because of him. JT signed.
It's something you said in your video with Turner, though. Yep. When you called to Turner, you mentioned, hey, we got the playoffs. We're going to become a destination. And we really have been, right? I mean, and you see, like in Dominic too, for like the Eagles side of it, you know, had a bunch of other calls, picked us because he sees what these teams are building, and that's, you know, it's like I said to you earlier, the Phillies and Eagles, I'm all in on. The other two teams in the city, we have some work to do, but they're building cultures that makes it fun to be here.
Somebody said they're like a weird clubhouse. Like I was listening to somebody and they were like, they got a bunch of like weirdos, but in a good way, like in a cool way. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you remember the song they were singing.
Yeah. He's like, it's a different feel in that clubhouse. And now you
play that song.
But now you add another one of the guys in, right? Yeah. Now you add another one of the guys in, and not just a guy, to me, a star. Like, I think he's a star. I think he's a star. So, I mean, because of his consistency. But I mean, listen, this is a game changer. It feels so good because we're all baseball guys that this is real.
Finally, right? Took us 11 years.
We can talk baseball now. After all these years of doing shows, we can talk baseball and not be embarrassed.
11 years, huh? Christ.
Wayne has an extra
follow up on your question too. The other thing too, not just the superstar factor. Bryce had already had an MVP, had already led the league in home runs.
Yeah.
There were other individual accolades that he had done that had led the league.
Sports Illustrated 16.
Whether you like it or not, the guy was a pimp to begin. You know, even before he came here.
And for the people at home, like I'm not trying to say like Harper, like again, like I'm not trying to compare like them being good players or anything. My point is, it's almost a credit to Turner where he's almost like an under the radar 11-year signing, because if you look at every team he's been on, he really hasn't ever had to be the guy. When it was the Nationals, it was with Harper. When it was with the Dodgers, it was Mookie Betts and et cetera, all the all-star teams that they have.
Yeah, so true, but not true. I mean, in the year Washington won it, he didn't have to be the guy, but he had to be one of the guys because it was Soto, Rendon, and him. You know what I mean? That's where their firepower came from. So he knows how to be sort of the guy too. He's had that effect, and then he goes to LA, and there's a million guys. So. But then you come here and there's a million guys too. But there's a million guys that there's a culture. There's a different culture in the Phillies locker room than there is in the LA Dodgers locker room. And state tax matters, and a lot of things factor in to wanting to get out of the West Coast and come east. And he came with his boys. I mean, and they opened up the checkbook, and the fact that he took less to come here than what the Padres offered is truly amazing and shows that. Well, you know, he watched the NLCS. Yep. I mean, he watched the NLCS, but he's boys with Harp. So I just think the fact that we got into the playoffs, you know, would lead a guy like this to us. But even a guy like Walker, like that's another under the radar signing. Not as much Trey Turner. Trey Turner's not on the radar. But that's an under the radar signing because when you're not talking about putting a guy in your 2 or your 3. He's your 4th.
He's a workhorse too. He eats up so many friggin' innings, and that's exactly what we need.
Yeah, he's a fourth pitcher. He's a veteran. Like you know, you just want a guy who can get some outs. You know what I mean? You're going to swing it. So just get enough outs, right? Because swing is not going to be the problem. It's can you get enough outs?
And he was a guy before he got cut up. He was a guy who was a top prospect in baseball. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He was looked at as the savior for the Seattle Mariners before he got cut up.
No, you're right. You're right.
Wayne has an activity for us. He says if you only had, so he wants us all to put our GM hats on. for the Phillies, and then Chrome, if you want to do for your Cardinals, that'll be fine too. If you only had one more major move left, what would it be? So if you were Dave Dombrowski, what would you do? If you'd be like, hey, you can have one major move left.
Who's the best? Who in Major League Baseball is the best reliever that I can get my fingers on? And if I got to trade for him, I trade for him. I mean, it's as simple as that. I am hunting for the best reliever on the market, maybe, and that might be coming from the Chicago White Sox. So I might have to be on with the Chicago White Sox and say, what would you like? Because that's a guy who's going to get outs when you team him up with the two guys you get back there.
Mr.
Right?
Hendricks?
Yes.
Or I was just going there. I pulled up his name.
To your point, David Bedard in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I think if you could finagle your way into a multi-team deal where somebody else is getting Brian Reynolds, and you could finagle Brian Bedard out of Pittsburgh, I'm in.
Yeah.
And that's where you might see an Abel, right? That's where you might have to throw in an Abel and whatever.
Yeah, the only guy I'm not throwing in is Painter. So,
yep.
You know what? If this question was asked before we signed Walker, and hell, if it's up there, I might still do it. We might really get filthy, but okay, we really need to fill one more spot in our starting rotation. It was more like a need. I would say work out a trade to get Mr. Gallen.
Yeah, but
he's out there. I've heard the Cardinals put his name as well. He's out there, and they're looking for starting pitching.
I'll give anything but Painter. I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'll give him Abel. Who's the other guy?
McGeary.
Yeah, he can go. Who else do you want? I'll give you my next best prospect.
Rojas. That was the center fielder.
See ya. I don't need a center fielder.
I don't need an outfielder right now.
No, I got a lot of guys under contract there.
I'll give you Bailey Falter too. I don't care.
The Phillies are just playing chess right now, right? They drafted a kid in the Rule 5 who's active military. They don't have to add him to the roster, but when he was playing, he was throwing 95.
He's in the military too?
Oh,
yeah.
Song?
Yeah, Song, yeah. Dombrowski drafted him when he was with the Red Sox. So he drafted him today in the Rule 5. Doesn't have to be added to the roster because he's active military.
Yeah, but the whole world throws 95.
He's so good at this. Again, it's a chess move.
What takes Gallen, though? I don't know what takes Gallen. What do you need to give up for Zach Gallen? I mean, the Diamondbacks are trying to sell high, obviously. He's coming off another monster year.
Yeah, top 5 Cy Young.
I mean, listen, I'm all in. I'm all in for Gallen at any time. I'll give you whatever you want, but Painter. But I feel like you get, I feel like our rotation's going to be good enough because then you just go sign a 5th guy. But we really need another, at least another big arm in the back end of our bullpen, and then like a guy like Robertson, right? Like I need Hendricks and Robertson. Like I just need length back there because I expect guys to get hurt, so I got to prepare for that and get enough big league arms that have proven they can get outs there. The 5th guy, I'll just freaking run out. I'll run out freaking Falter. I don't give a shit when it's the 5th game because I'm going to hit. You know what I mean? So go ahead. You're a starter.
You think there's any chance, again, and this would have to be 3 weeks from now, because I think somebody would give him more, especially with how stark the pitching market is right now. Syndergaard for $11 million.
I'm not against it.
Yeah,
I'm not. Actually, six starters.
No, I don't need to go 6. I'll bring Syndergaard in as my. Oh, if you count Falter, right? You count.
Well, no, because I'm counting Painter because I know they're probably going to want to be careful with his innings.
Well, yeah, and Noah already showed that he can do 2 innings. He can probably come out of the pen for you. Mm-hmm. If it comes down to that later on in the year. But I'll give him $11 million because I almost need to see what year 2 after the injury looks like.
They usually get better. They usually get like this Walker. He's in year 3 after the surgery.
Like I'm just, I'm like a curious cat. You know what I mean? Like, what is he going to be up to 97, 98? Because for $11 million, if he's up to 98, you all better watch the fuck out. You know what I mean? You all better back up. Because
I still have to go back to because really we didn't use them like we wanted them to in the postseason. Syndergaard, that is. And I keep going back to
except for 2 starts.
I know, but there's some times where I was like, hey, let him go 6, not 2,
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I keep thinking they traded, because again, they traded. I know it was the catcher and it was Moniak pretty much for Marsh and Syndergaard. It was 2 deals, but it ended up kind of being one when you look at it that way. That's a lot. In a way, that's a lot for
Brandon Marsh.
Yeah, and a couple months of Syndergaard. So I have to believe that was, hey, get Syndergaard in. I don't think he was bad. Like, was he great? No, but we're not asking him to be our third starter.
But what does year 2 look like as the fifth starter? Exactly. Because you're I don't want to say a flyer, but it's a low risk, high reward. Yes. And the low risk is, okay, he doesn't pan out. He's still sitting at 95. He doesn't have movement, whatever. The
real problem is he's not getting signed for $11 million, right? When you get Eflin out there at 16, Taiwan Walker's get at 18. The deal is Tyler Anderson, who signed early, thinking he was getting the bag, with the Angels, and then 2 weeks later, Zach Eflin comes out there and they're like, what just happened?
Well, what's the most you guys would pay for him for 1 year? What's the most? What's your limit?
Well, I don't care about money, so whatever.
All right, what do you think their limit is?
12.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 11 number is in your mind is where they're looking.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's where Thor sits.
There's too many desperate teams.
Yeah.
Listen, you just roll out Bradley Falter to start the year. It doesn't matter in the 5th early on. It matters as you go on. And then you hope Painter proves he's ready. And then if not, you're shopping at the deadline. Right? So, I mean, I have to believe. What do you guys need more, the 5th or another big-time reliever? What would you rather have?
Big time reliever.
Because if I'm running things, I'm putting Painter in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Big
time reliever.
To me right now, Tom, I'm looking at it. If I'm GM, I have 6 starters, and Falter's my 6th. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good there because I'm thinking, okay, Painter's good. We're not going to do like old school Phillies thing where we wait 2 years too long. We're putting them in there.
Yeah, listen, it's weird to say this, but we played against them. I coached against them, and even then, you're like, this guy's a freaking monster. He was gigantic. You know what I mean? And a lot of downhill. But now, granted, I mean, whatever. I mean, it was in the best area you could play in Georgia. And that dude's money there. And all I've done is watch him in videos and stuff. And his shit's live. His shit moves. And it's not just like, a flat fastball coming at you. Listen, you can watch it and see if a guy can pitch. And you can know this guy's got movement. This guy's got life. There's no reason for him to sit down in the minors and waste the bullets. There's no reason. Guys get hurt all the time. Bring him the hell up. You're not asking him to be your 1 and 2. That's a lot of pressure. Being a 5th isn't a lot of pressure. Fit in, bro. Get your feel. You're only going to probably throw 5 innings anyway.
Exactly.
So you can limit them. People say, Tom, he's never thrown this many innings in his life.
You have to eventually.
When do you rip the Band-Aid off, babe? So give him 5 innings. Sometimes give him 4. Guess what? Maybe skip him a start and give Falter a start. There's ways to do it, babe, without freaking making the guy throw 200 innings. Understand? There's ways to freaking do it. So have a feel for life. The guy's live as shit. He better be on my opening day roster unless spring training he gets hit the freaking Tampa, okay, from Clearwater to Tampa, unless he gets a hit all the way there. He's my 5th starter coming in the year. Bradley Falter's my backup plan. Let's go fix the rest of this bullpen. Listen, let's not forget, Alvarado was lights out, and I don't want the Alvarez home run because he should have never been in the game affect how good he was. Sir Anthony, unbelievable. But I can't just have 2. We found this out. If you want to win it,
need another one.
I need 1 more, and I need another guy to step up. So I really need 4 guys back there because if you're talking about throwing guys 5 innings and being a jerk off, I got to get out. I got to get outs back there. So listen, at the end of the day, we're excited.
Yeah, and you have to think if the Phillies continue, because again, Robbie T said it today. Dombrowski said it. If they're thinking about bringing up Painter, I don't think they're going to baby him. Right? They might do some certain things, right? Tommy, keep him 4 or 5 innings, skip a start here and there. But I don't think they're going to just use him for the beginning of the year and then all of a sudden shut him down at the end of the year or the middle of the year. Like, it does them no good to do that.
Nope.
Does them no good. And that's, again, I'm going to go back and and feel like that they misplayed him in the playoffs, you could have used him. You could have used him in certain spots in the playoffs, in my mind, right? And put him in the bullpen. Maybe he's that spot starter, or just get some innings out of the bullpen. Would you rather have him or Kyle Gibson coming out of any bullpen game?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear.
But to your point, Tommy, I think to help solidify that bullpen, what is Connor Brogdon coming into the new year? Does he take a playoffs where he was really, really good and expand on that? Or does he revert back to the guy that we all cringe every time he comes in the game?
There's two names when you want to talk about, like, obviously Sir Anthony and Alvarado, like those guys are the keys, right? To your bullpen, because they're your big name guys. But if you want to talk about what the ceiling can be as far as your bullpen, it really being, what we need it to be, especially in the postseason, the two keys are one, Brogdon, like you just said, and the other one's Bellotti. Mm-hmm. If those guys can take a step up, Brogdon was good at times, but then he forgot how to pitch for like a month. Bellotti, I thought, was, except for early in the year, but that was at the point where like everything sucked. Like that was just like, okay, this team sucks. Nobody's
Bellotti got outs. Bellotti got outs for sure.
And that was as a rookie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like we're not used to having rookies that are like good in the bullpen or good or anywhere the last handful of years.
Especially to get it in the playoffs too, right?
Yes.
Especially to get some good innings, and just to get the taste.
Brogdon was getting both sides out. They were okay letting Brogdon come in as the last guy, like to get Alvarez, right? You know what I mean? Like when you work through Alvarado and Sir Anthony went through him, then they were like, all right, we're okay with Brogdon if we got to get to him. Like that's big.
Listen, you know what else is important? The fact that we're talking 6 starters. I think we go 6 starters early on. I think because how deep you just went, right? Because how deep you just went, you get less of your arms get less of a break. Your arms need a break, need to rebuild, need to regroup. You need to take a couple.
Point, Tommy.
You need a few weeks off to breathe the body. Obviously, probably most of these guys probably you would think a couple weeks, just to heal it up. But older guys maybe a month before they start ramping up again, and then they need time to ramp up again. So if you can, and we saw what Wheeler, right? How the wear and tear this year, and he took a month off. So I think it's important to have some other starters, and if you're playing good baseball, skip a guy a start.
Well, and
give him a breather the next week, and because I need Noah doesn't matter, right? Noah's going to be the same to me. Like I think he gets more durable pitching that deep. He's just feel like that's how his arm works, right? Like now he's even going to be stronger. But Wheels and other guys who get it done by freaking throwing it by you all day, those guys need a little breather. Like throughout the year, like I'll skip a Wheeler start in a freaking a May game. Right,
May game.
Yeah, skip my start.
If Fitz will,
by the way, here's another guy real quick to throw in the Zach Gallen sweepstakes.
Who?
Derek Hall.
Oh, say it.
Well, you know what's funny? Wayne,
thanks, Greg. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Greg.
Yeah, appreciate you, Greg.
Wayne asks, how much do we see Derek Hall? I think we see a lot of them when Bryce Harper's not in there as your DH. Well, who's your playing your DH?
See any of them? We already have too many DHs if you think about it.
Well, what's your lineup?
Robbie Thompson was talking about today. He's going to roll. He's going to platoon and roll Castellanos, Schwarber, Hoskins, Bohm. You got to figure JT's got to be on that DH list.
So right? What? Vierling's an everyday guy then? Then Vierling's that fill-in guy then?
Early on the season.
I mean, early on the season, Vierling's probably going to play left field.
And Casty's your everyday.
Casty's going to be a right fielder, and probably Schwarber is your majority of your DH.
And then you
I don't think we see Hall very much. To me, he's not a factor to me.
No, I'll trade that guy tomorrow. Yesterday,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Good guy. I just like it gets me Zach Gallen. It just I think I was pretty clear that like I'm giving up everything but Painter, because that's that's a Yankees type move type shit. Like in terms of like we're just going to get a bunch of dudes. Like that's the best team in baseball, hands down. They got Zach Gallen. Because not only do you trump what a lot of teams' top threes are in their rotation, you trump what they do at the plate too. It's like, how do you beat them?
So how do you beat them? So are we talking Four Aces Part 2? Are we talking that?
Better.
With
better,
an offense?
The lineup's better.
Yeah.
The lineup's better.
You got to remember, to get those 4 aces, we couldn't sign Worth and a couple other guys who were really key to that lineup.
You know what the other thing is?
And Victor
Gowan and Noah, and I'm trying to get both on the show. And I know I'll see if Sweeps can, obviously Sweeps can help us out. And I talked to another guy about Noah today, right? Because I love that both of them on the show. So maybe we can do a little tampering. But no.
Is there tampering in the MLB? I don't think.
I don't know. I think they pretty much open a meeting up for everybody to run around.
Yeah.
So they tamper with themselves. But what I'll say is I mean, those two are when you talk about guys that go deep in the games, and you talk about guys that last. I mean, both of them, when they're going, they're throwing for a lot of innings. You know what I mean? And that's not the usual thing around Major League Baseball anymore. So it's almost like old school a little bit, and I like that. And then obviously Wheels goes deep in games, and if he's healthy, he's going to throw a lot of innings. But those other two, you can sort of stamp that they're going deep. They're going like season wise. You know what I mean? Like Noah and Gowan.
Oh yeah. Nasty. Do you like Hassan Reddick? Is Hassan Reddick a good player?
Yeah, I mean he went to Haddon Heights, so I mean that's around the block.
He's good, right? Like we like him. We like him. He's a good player.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about the hometown kid thing.
No. If the hometown kid can play,
yeah,
but Zach Gallen can play. I mean, that's proven now. That sample size is now a trend. Like that dude can flat out pitch. So if Arizona's an idiot, then I love idiots. In terms of I'm making a deal, come on home, kid. Come on home and flat out deal here, because you don't got to beat a guy here either. You're a third starter here. Or second, however they want to do it.
Yeah. Who the hell cares?
Doesn't even matter.
Number 5? We want to be number 5.
Well, somebody said they're shopping them. I don't know. That's what Rye said, right?
No, Chrome said that.
Chrome said that. Chrome?
I heard them discuss his name on MLB Network today.
Interesting.
Sweeps. Yeah. What if we put Derek Hall in the deal? All right, that's an offer they can't refuse.
Well, Ryan asked me, like, for the Cardinals, same thing. I mean, Zach Gallen would be my ultimate goal.
You're not allowed to have
right now. I would go out and sign Dansby Swanson, and then I would end up using
Thanks, Kirsten.
Someone like a Nolan Gorman and build a package around him. Keep everybody but Jordan Walker. For me, Jordan Walker, our top prospect to me, is the only untouchable, and then whatever it takes to get Zach Gallen. Because I feel like if you could do that and open up Gorman to be moved, there's dominoes there, similar to what you guys are talking about, that you have the prospects to package to go get a guy like a Gallen. Because they're not going to sign Rodon. They need another starter. There's too much to ask for them to rely on Jack Flaherty coming back from an injury.
And Waino. Don't forget Waino.
And Waino's, we don't know. Did he really find something at the end, or did he gas out? If he did, he's hooked.
Chrome, I found a guy for you. John Heyman reported on him. Cole Hamels. You guys like old guys?
Yeah, he's coming back.
No, that's Coke Hamels.
Coke Hamels, excuse me. You guys like old guys that are past their prime? Bring him in. No. Come on.
We'll probably end up signing like a Drew Smiley, or I wouldn't mind Bassett signing. I like Bassett a little bit.
Bassett's under the radar.
Bassett's a good player.
So I wouldn't mind.
That's under the radar.
Trading for him, but
Bassett comes with picks though.
But other than that,
okay, Greg.
And
I didn't know that. Yeah.
What else he comes with? A new pitch clock, which will be horrifying for him because he's like one of the slowest pitchers.
Yeah,
that's probably why he wasn't signed. He's like, is this guy going to be okay with the pitch clock?
Right, Chrome. I'm telling you, that's a big time signing though today. I mean, to be able to transition from Yachty to Contreras is huge, especially with the bat, because Yachty just wasn't going to bring the bat at that point of his career. So I mean, you guys,
since he's really hit consistently.
Yeah, and now you got a guy who's going to swing it. So I mean,
2 guys into retirement.
He plays an adequate enough catcher, and I actually think he's gotten a little bit better over the last couple of years. But I agree. I wanted them to shift. I didn't want to do let's try to replace Yachty and get the best defensive catcher we can out there. I liked Sean Murphy. Oakland wanted way too much for Sean Murphy. So to me, it was definitely Contreras. And like you said, he can swing the bat. And he's a 3 out of the last 4 years that they had an all-star game. He's been an all-star. He's been one of the top hitters at his position. He's like the tier under JT right now, and I'm totally fine with that.
What did just out of curiosity, what did Oakland? What were they looking for Murphy? Like
Too soon.
So I don't know specifically, but they wanted multiple prospects for Sean Murphy. Multiple, almost MLB ready prospects for Sean Murphy. Which
Sean Murphy can play.
He could play, but
he's not proven yet.
He's not. To me, he's not a guy. It's not like going out and getting an ace. It's not like going out and trading for a guy who's going to change your franchise. It's Sean Murphy.
Yeah, well, you guys shouldn't be looking for pitching.
And Jordan Walker and our top pitching prospects.
You shouldn't be looking for pitching. Shouldn't be looking for pitching. Look down below. I mean, you had Gals and Alcantara. So, I mean, what else do you want?
You blew it.
What else do you want?
I know.
Screwed yourself. You played yourself.
But are the Phillies the best team in baseball?
We also had a Rosarena too, Nick.
Right now, the Phillies the best team in baseball.
Dirty Randy.
I think their lineup is the best in baseball. I think they're a top probably 3 or 4.
Yeah, we're definitely top 3.
Yeah.
Definitely top 3.
I was going to say top 5 at worst.
Yeah.
Top 5.
Yep.
Right?
And I think that's being generous too, right? You know what I mean? Like,
it's a lot
we were the NL, representations in the World Series, right? So realistically, you could say we're 2.
I'm very interested.
You know what I mean?
The Mets are good.
But the Mets,
Verlander's healthy.
I don't know
how
much I like the Verlander.
The past 20 years, Mets are good.
Mets are good.
Joke.
Houston is still very good, and they improved their offense by going out and signing Abreu.
I'm interested to see what they do to replace Verlander. I'm very interested to see if they hit the trademark.
Well, I know they're in the catching market, so they might end up with a Sean Murphy. They're looking to upgrade over Maldonado, so
whatever. Their bullpen will just win them 1 million games again.
He had the biggest hit of the season, Maldonado.
That was
when the ball hit his elbow.
Listen, I'm telling you that they'll just outpitch everybody again in the bullpen. I mean,
their number 4 starter threw a freaking no hitter.
Yeah, I mean, even without Verlander, that lineup that's tough.
So Braves are really good. Dodgers are probably still going to be good.
I think the Phillies are better. I would put the Phillies over the Braves now.
Here's the
Padres are loaded.
The Padres have to be in there.
Mm-hmm. The Padres
are definitely top 5.
I think they're a definite top 3.
Machado, fucking Xander Bogaerts. What's his name?
Blake Snell, Tommy's boy.
Oh yeah.
Musgrove.
No, who did they just trade for? Why can't they think of his name?
Juan Soto.
Jesus Christ, I was thinking Robo for some. It's too.
Don't worry, I try and forget his name every day I exist, Crum. I hate that guy.
Juan Soto. I mean, that lineup is deep. That pitching staff is really good. They could use another starting pitcher though.
Everybody could, but I don't know. I think the Phillies are top 5. I'll put them top 5, and if it's 5th, fine. I don't care. But they're in the conversation. I think we're better than the Dodgers.
As of right now, depending on the shortstop, if they sign Correa, I might have an argument.
I still think we're better than the Dodgers because of chemistry.
Now, here's the thing:
staff is really good, though.
If Dansby goes to the Cubs,
they signed 90-year-old Kershaw. They let Tyler Anderson go in a really good year for him.
Yeah, if the Braves don't sign Dansby Swanson, they're out of the top.
That's exactly so. I don't know what to do because I don't know if he's going back. Now they could do a chestnut checkers and have Dansby go and then they sign Correa. Correa, they lose one and they get him.
Huge difference maker right now. There's so many teams looking for a middle infielder, and Correa is the number 1 guy on the market. So
and Mets aren't allowed to be in the top 5.
No, they lost too many guys, and they paid a closer $100 million. I'm not doing it.
They paid Justin Verlander $100 million.
After that collapse, they are not allowed to be in the top 5.
Scherzer looked,
I don't know, man,
90 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying our pitchers look great in the World Series, but at least we got past the first freaking round, for God's sakes.
I don't know.
No, they cannot be in the top 5. Can't be. Not allowed.
No, there's too many good teams.
I would say, honestly, it's
and to be honest,
Houston,
though, what's their outfield
Padres.
look like? They lost Nimmo.
Yeah.
Right, or they're going to lose Nimmo, right? Mm-hmm. So he was a big part of their offensive defense. So what is their offense?
Conforto might be going as well.
And Cleveland
has been a free agent the whole time.
And Cleveland's really good too. Yeah. They're nobody's going to talk about them, but they're very good too.
If their pitching staff, Josh Bell.
Yeah, it gives him some power.
Really good pickup.
Go Ramirez. Yep.
Chrome, you know why I like that they got Josh Bell? Because Josh Bell is out of the National League now. Well, I'm scared to death of Josh Bell.
To me, and look at what he signed for. It was like I think 2 for 26.
Yeah.
Low risk, high reward. Because if he gets even 80% of what he used to be, that's a deal. It's an absolute steal.
The Mets they're probably gonna trade McCann.
Truth. Nick's right. Sweeps is right.
I do agree with that. Sweeps.
That's what the Braves do.
No question.
The Mets are probably going to trade McCann. Because I think their other catcher is I think that's the best.
Alvarez. That's their best prospect.
I think it's the best prospect in baseball, right?
He's the number one prospect in baseball.
Francisco Alvarez.
What, for Braves?
No, Mets.
The Mets. They're probably going to trade McCann. Could that be Houston?
Could be.
You got to remember though that they also have Jansen still out there with Toronto. He's a prime trade candidate right now. Rowdy Tellez. If it's not him, Toronto also has Rowdy Tellez out there, who I really like him a lot. So there's some catching prospects out there. Houston's going to get one of them.
Gut feeling, I'd probably put Houston 1, us 2, Padres 3. Just gut feeling. I have to really look at the lineups and the rotations and everything. Yeah. But
what's the back end of your rotation again?
Ours?
Yeah.
It's Wheeler, Nola, Ranger. Walker, and then
Painter.
2 of either. Because if we're saying we're going 6, it's going to be 2 of Painter, Falter, and maybe Syndergaard if we bring him back. But if it's not, then it's going to be 1 of Painter or Falter.
If I were you guys, I'd like to sign one more back end arm. Maybe bring Syndergaard back. I like that idea. And I would
love Syndergaard.
You know what you're getting? I felt like he fit in with the team. So there's not a chemistry issue there whatsoever. I would just if you got 6 or 7 that are kind of sitting there, to me it's no harm, no foul.
This is one to Dave Dombrowski, if you're listening, that is a do not sign whatsoever. Anyone want to guess who it is? He's a big name.
Do not sign?
Yeah, do not sign.
Yasiel Puig.
No, I'll get crazy. We want Puig. I'll go Puig. No, he's a pitcher.
He was at the winter meetings looking for a job.
Yeah, who was the other one that was out there?
Nelson Cruz.
Yes.
You're talking about Zach Greinke.
No.
I mean,
he's a crazy person, but Dynasty got it. Don't you dare. We're not doing this.
No. Is he out there?
He is out there. Yes.
He's been out there. Yeah.
No, there's no shot. There's no shot they bring him into this clubhouse.
They better not.
Sign him. Get it done.
It is a great game, Sweeps. It is.
It is a great game. All right. I gotta call it tonight. I got things to do like in a few hours, so I will see you all later.
See you, Frank.
See you, Frank.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Ted, I would rather sign Coop Hamels or Cole Hamels over Aroldis Chapman. Yeah, don't Aroldis Chapman me.
Yeah, don't talk to me about a good time. Don't bring me a reunion with Cole Hamels. I'm gonna get all sentimental up in here.
I'll sign him just to get him for 1 start so I can go to the game. 1 start, I'll go there and then he can get injured. That's fine. Tom, Aroldis Chapman, you interested?
Sorry, I'm eating a cookie to stay awake. No, I'm good.
Still mad at Frank for taking my Boston. I had such a fucking promo set up when I was going to pick Boston Scott. I'm so mad at him.
That's not nice, Sweeps.
You still did well. You still did well for him.
I know, but I had other nicknames.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, what kind of cookie you eating?
Cosmic Brownie?
The Emperor of East Rutherford.
Pepperidge Farm.
Nicknames
milk chocolate. Macadamia. It's still a little different. A little big ass chocolate chips. I'm enjoying myself. But I thought it was soft.
But it's hard.
And it's a hard cookie, which is fine. I'm not mad at you. No,
Greg, that's your cue, Greg. That's your cue.
I wanted soft, but I got hard. That's what she said.
There you go.
Hello.
Greg was giving the googly eyes. I was like, hey, Greg, go ahead.
What do you guys think of what the Rangers did this offseason?
I'll probably come third in their division again.
What, 40-year-old Jacob deGrom?
What'd you guys do at coming in third in the division?
Huh?
Listen,
What did you guys do coming third in the division?
Chrome. Don't die on the Texas Rangers hill, please. Don't do that.
Listen, they went out.
I'll tell you what, the Phillies open up in Dallas. I'm trying to be there.
Oh yeah, we'll see DeGrom the first
I'll
game.
see there. It makes sense whether it works out or not. It makes sense because it continues for them their spending spree. Right, last year you got Seager and Simeon, and now you start to add frontline starting pitching.
They went out and got Andrew Haney too.
They have Andrew Haney for the middle. Did that just happen today?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Happened
So I mean, it makes sense whether it works out for him or not. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, it's to be determined. I'm glad DeGrom's out of the National League, and we don't have to see him anymore. Even though I think we usually hit him pretty.
Greg, no, we have to see him the opening day.
Yeah, that's fine, but I'll take that. Right? I'll take seeing him once a year as opposed to 7 times a year. But again, Chrome, it's to your point, and I think it's what MLB loves is we're in the beginning of a CBA agreement, so everybody's spending money right now.
Yep.
Because the expectation is we're good, right? So nothing's going to happen, right? So we're spending. But as you just tried to take a shot at Ralphie, you just saw with the third team in, and
that wasn't a shot. That wasn't.
You saw what the 6th team and what the 5th team in the National League just did.
Well, let me.
Right, so you were the NLCS was
and the 5th team and the 6th team.
Yep,
they both got better today. A lot better.
Boys, listen real quick. I love you guys.
Yeah,
I love you guys. I'm going to bed. So,
we'll be right behind you because I'm not staying longer either.
Yeah, we'll probably be another 5 minutes and
enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself.
See you, brother.
Later.
Chrome, let me ask you this, okay, and all of you guys.
But real quick though, that was the point that MLB wanted. The Phillies proved the model of the playoffs and why they did it. Because now more teams are spending. There is more movement at the trade deadline because teams, if they're on the cusp, and that wasn't a shot at Ralph, that was me making the point. You're going to knock a team from coming in third in their division. What did your team just do? It's exactly what Major League wants. If that team's in third and they're in the 7th or 8th spot competing, now at the deadline they have the pitching. Maybe they go get a bat or two. Maybe that gets them in the 5th or 6th seed. Maybe they make the run like you guys did and like San Diego did. It's very possible.
All right, so here's the thing, right? So if we're arguing for the Texas Rangers, well, they made improvements. They've got to move up from a 68-win team last year. And there's 7 teams that make it, correct? I just want to be confirmed on that. Per league, 7?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. Are they Ralph, you have piece of paper over there, Ralph?
No.
Okay, pretend like you do. Get a phone. Come on. Get a note sheet. Go on. Are the Texas Rangers better than the New York Yankees today?
Nope.
Okay. Are they better than the Blue Jays?
Nope.
No.
Are they better than the
Yankees? I might give you Yankees just out of pure hatred.
I was just, we know where you're coming from. Are they better than the Tampa Bay Rays?
No. You never know.
No. Orioles will leave alone. Red Sox? Are they better than the Red Sox?
But you never know with Tampa.
True. Red Sox?
Yes.
As of right now, yes, because I don't know what they're doing.
What the Red Sox are doing?
Yeah.
And Red Sox
picking up.
You signed Yoshida.
Losing Xander Bogart.
But you did sign Yoshida. You gave him $100 million.
Yeah, I guess that was just to get him in the building, right? Just like, okay, just
that's
try.
A large
let's see if this
to
is
get in the building.
Maybe they think it's Ohtani. Who knows? I wouldn't think it's Ohtani, but who knows? Are they better than the? Are they better than the Cleveland? Are they better than Cleveland?
No.
They better than the White Sox?
Yes. Right now,
I would say yes.
So I guess that means they're better than also the Twins, Tigers, and Royals.
Yes.
Again, Twins depend on Correa.
Interesting though. There's a lot of young talent there. I don't know if it's this year or maybe next year that it starts to kind of break through that ceiling though. I would say as of now, yes. But I think the Tigers are going to be really good sooner than later.
And same thing with the Twins. Like if the Twins come back with Correa again, they're better. But as of right now, they're not because they don't have Correa.
So are they better than Houston?
Yes.
They're better than Houston?
I'm kidding.
Oh, God.
No.
Well, I can't see. I can only see the standings, so I can't see. Are they better than the Mariners?
No.
No, they're not. Nope.
Are they better than the Angels? I'll say that one.
Yes. 100%. Anybody's better than the Angels.
And they actually have a payroll, so that means they're better than the Oakland Athletics.
Yes.
Okay, so how many no's did we give?
Yeah.
Yankees, Blue Jays,
yeah,
Guardians, Houston, Mariners. How many is that? 1, 2,
6.
Okay, and then we had maybes on the Twins, the Rays, and the White Sox.
No, I think we were pretty clear on the White Sox and the Twins.
Well, Greg said maybe because of Correa.
I had a maybe just on Correa with the Twins.
But that's like there's like a 5% chance of that happening.
No, I agree.
So either way,
Correa then. But I think that's the incremental jump that they would expect, right? You're not going from 60 wins to 90 wins in a year. You know what I mean? That's why they gave Seager 10 years, right? Mm-hmm. That's why they signed DeGrom for 5 years.
That's exactly my point.
You probably figured they go from 60, I think 80 wins this year. I think 500 for them is a drastic improvement.
I was going to say 84. I was even going to say like 84. Like they're in the discussion, right? But they're like one of 3 teams fighting for one spot. And listen, they take it. I mean, 68 to 83 is gigantic.
Heck yeah, absolutely.
It's just, it's kind of like, okay, we fall just short. It's 2 years. We're 2 years away, not 1 year away.
I think they're going to be a fringe. I think.
Is Chrome buffering for anybody else?
Yes.
Yeah.
He'll come back.
Oh,
is he back? Chrome, are you back? No, you're not back.
Yeah, I was back. I don't know what he does. I'm not back.
You're good.
Can you hear me?
Now you're good.
Okay. No, I think they're going to be a fringe team. I think they'll compete for that last wild card spot, and they might be the team on the outside. But again, it gives them every incentive. If they're a top 8 or 9 team in the conference, in the league, in their league, then there's always a possibility for them to compete. And I think that this is exactly what MLB wanted them to do.
I agree. But either way, it's fun having this conversation, baseball and Eagles and football, you know what I'm saying? And not being like, oh, we got to talk Phillies, we got to talk baseball. And that's a credit to Dave Dombrowski and the organization of the Phillies, that's for sure.
I mean, they
and as a baseball fan, it's fun to see more teams involved and guys going a lot of different places as opposed to seeing, the usual suspects who are just signing everybody up.
But I mean, even they have a decent roster. Like when you think their infield, you got Nathaniel Lowe, Simeon, Seager, and then you got the kid Josh Young, who's supposed to be a pimp, right? Played a little, got his feet wet there towards the end of the year, So your infield set. You have a guy, Dallas Garcia, who's going to hit for power in your outfield. Now your outfield is kind of right? But you can always find outfielders, right? Outfielders are a dime a dozen.
They are.
I think their weakest part is their catcher. But I know Jonah Heim had a decent year. Mitch McGarver got hurt. He's more of an offensive catcher than a defensive guy. But he got hurt, and I don't know if he's going to be back for the season or at least the regular season. But
Heim had a pretty good year last year.
No, Heim did have a decent year, right? But if you look at you need one catcher, one DH, right? Garver is probably more that DH type than the actual pure catcher, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to their pitching, of course, just like everybody else's. But they don't have a bad roster. I mean, they traded with Jake Odorizzi's on their roster now.
No.
One wonderful Spencer Howard, if he takes his God, remember us going through Spencer Howard? Jesus.
Yeah, that was hell on ice.
Oh, my God. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, last question, Ralphie. Last question. I ask it to you every week, even though I haven't done it for 3 weeks. Who's the Lakers' third best player?
Horton.
I think it's LeBron, but that's beside the point. Anyway, fam.
The better question is, who's their best player?
Anthony Davis before the flu.
There you go.
Trade him now, Ralphie. I'm telling you. You want Pelinka out of there? Trade him.
Oh my God.
Get him out. Fam, we appreciate you as always for chiming in. Listen, it was a long one tonight. We had a little bit of everything. If you guys are tuned in for NFL picks, I saw somebody in the chat being like, NFL picks. First off, there's like 90 other shows on this network that will give you the NFL picks, like some on the day of the games. So make sure you stay tuned for that.
MLB Hot Stove, way more important.
That too. You're gonna have tomorrow. We're gonna have 2 shows for NFL talk and NFL picks. So go over there. They'll be there for you. You've got Pro Fan Talk with Marcus, and then you've got obviously Birds of a Feather, giving you predictions for NFL Week 14 and a little live reaction to Thursday Night Football. What is it? And again, it's what, Rams Raiders.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Baker's coming out party, baby.
Yeah, maybe they'll skip the reactions, but if you are a Rams or Raiders fan, then ask them, and they'll pretend to be interested in the game for 5 seconds. But fam, we appreciate you as always. Make sure, especially if you're chiming in over on YouTube, make sure you hit that notification bell, because YouTube likes to change things every 6 months. And now you literally, if you want to know when we're going live and you don't want our shows to be hidden on your timeline, you have to hit the bell. Like, it's not like, if you want to see us, you got to hit the bell. Don't ask us why, it's YouTube. They do things. And if you're ever on Facebook, make sure you're subscribing and following not only the main page, but A2D Live, where we're doing shows at the moment. That way you're getting kind of a 2-for-1. You get the shows, and then you get all the daily content as usual on both pages.
Forgot about Martin Perez, too, by the way. He had a great year last year. They brought him back. They're at least 3 deep in their rotation. We're going to talk to Texas. As long as Ryan keeps going with these reads, we're going to talk to Texas Rangers into a playoff team.
Well, the show, the show is brought to you by the Texas Rangers. Martin Perez. What was that other guy's name? A long name that you brought up?
Spencer Howard.
No, that guy sucks. No, that guy. No, this show is not brought to you by Spencer Howard. Absolutely not.
Jake Odorizzi?
Sure, we'll go with him. That's not the guy, but we'll say that. I'm sure Greg will come up. He's looking at the rosters as we speak, I'm sure. But we are brought to you by who?
Nathaniel Lowe?
That's not a long last name. Never mind.
No,
never mind. It's not important. I don't care about the Rangers. We're brought to you by FanUp, and they're the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, and more. You can win great prizes by signing up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, and that's a $50 value. Just use fanup.app. You find the name? Oh, that's right. It's Cole Hamels. Matt got it. That's the name I was looking for. Cole Hamels. It wasn't. Oh, it's just I saw Cole Hamels. And he didn't spell Coke Hamels. For Ralph Del Vecchio, for Michael Chromiak, for Greg Milakovic, for Frank Vespi, for Tom Arnone, for Noah Eaton, who I have no idea where he is. There you go, Don. There you go. That's a good way to end it. I'm Ryan Brodo. Shout out to the Phils for keeping us still talking about them this late in the year and getting us away from the NFL. Not that it's the NFL's bad, but it's always fun to talk MLB, especially when our teams are good. Like I said, stay tuned for all of our content. Make sure you hit the notification bell. And I can't end the show.
Oh, you want me to?
Are you an admin?
Yeah.
Thank God. I thought Tom was the only admin. I thought we were stuck.
Yeah.
Please end the show.
Bye.
Please end.